Honorable members, we have been permitted to raise matters under Rule 377 today. May personally hand over approved text of the matter editable immediately. Item number 21, Honorable Finance Minister. Please, Dada, please. Please, Dada, please. Please, Dada, please. No. Please, Dada. Honorable Finance Minister. Please. Please, Dada.
So thank you very much for the opportunity to respond to the discussions on the supplementary demand for grants. I understand 43 members had spoken on the discussion. This is the first batch of supplementary, sir. And it covers over 83 demands and 3 appropriations. The appropriations include those for the President, the Supreme Court of India, and for the Union Public Service Commission. To make a beginning, I will repeat some of the things which are already mentioned in the supplementary demand for grants, which a copy of which all members have seen. These demands and appropriations, we are seeking the authorization of the Parliament for gross additional expenditure of 87,762.56 crores. The net cash outgo or cash supplementary is about 44,182.87 crores. The technical token supplementaries are also mentioned. Expenditure on capital account is something which I would like to take a minute to say that it is about 19,416.35 crores. The balance of 68.346.21 crore in the supplementary demand for grants is on the revenue account. So, not going further into the details, yesterday, I'm grateful that Honorable Member Jagadambika Palji had gone into the details of what this supplementary demand for grant is all about, where money goes, and why it is justified that this first supplementary has covered those amounts, and the total is far lesser than what a first supplementary had in the last year. So he had rightly placed the emphasis saying, look at where the money is going. It's going for farmers, it's going for the revenue expenditure of defense, but on farmers' account again, it is going for fertilizers and so on. So without spending more time on the details of those, I'd like to go back to the discussions itself and respond to the members and their seeking clarification so that we focus on the debate straight away. Sir, questions on the economy, Madam, I'm sorry, I keep referring to you as Sir. Madam, there were a lot of interest in the economy-related issues. Honorable members have asked questions about what is it about the economy that you can answer. We have got questions to ask. I'll try to address some of them. So, Madam, the real growth rate for Q1 and Q2 of this financial year 25 has been 6.7% and 5.4% respectively. At 5.4%, the Q2 rate is slower than expected. Many members observed it, many members commented on it, many members raised a doubt saying, is growth sustainable at all at the number that we projected in the BE? I'd like to touch upon some of the concerns. So, quarter 2 of this financial year has been challenging quarter for India and for most other economies of the world. In last 3 years, India's GDP growth rate has averaged 8.3%. This is outstanding. I don't want to judge myself, I don't want to judge the ministry, but this is a number before us, and this is a number which you can see, compare it with the rest of the globe. And this number is an outstanding number by global standards. India has been the fastest growing major economy in the world, and the credit goes to the people of India who are struggling and meeting their aspirations, thereby contributing to the economy, and with the leadership which puts policy upfront so that it responds to people and their aspirations as well. So the two wheels have moved adequately in synchrony, as a result of which you see the growth numbers. A different perspective for the same thing is something which I'd like to put before you, Ma'am Chairperson. Out of the 12 quarters in the previous 3 years, GDP growth rate was lower than 5.4%. GDP growth rate was lower than 5.4% in 2 quarters.
Please. And she gets involved.
I'm not able to understand.
Ignore him.
Okay. So out of the 12 quarters in previous 3 years, GDP growth rate was lower than 5.4% in 2 quarters, quarter 4 of 21-22 and quarter 3 of 22-23. So it's important to understand that this drop happened just 2 quarters in the last 12 quarters that we're talking about. So let us not sort of pick on that one and predict future. This has been a steady growth and a steady sustained growth. So I'd like to place that perspective with the numbers before me. The regular union budget was passed by the newly constituted Lok Sabha post-parliamentary elections in middle of August 2024. Effectively, the implementation of new announcements of this government commenced after the Appropriation Act was passed by the Parliament in August 2024. Effectively, it is from August that we are starting to give emphasis to many of the things, inclusive of capital expenditure, and therefore we are now talking within 4 months after the full regular budget was presented in August. So the situation is no different from one seen in earlier years when parliament elections were conducted. So that's a very important consideration which I would like the honourable members to take on board. When annual Lok Sabha elections happen, those years do have a certain flow of resources, do have a certain ground-related expenditure happening, and when it picks up, the growth rate also picks up. But the blip is got to be understood in the broader context. So differences in alignments of festivities. This is an important consideration because even countries which have annually a Christmas festival mood or any other festival mood, there is a rise and dip in consumption and expenditure. So between September and October this year, particularly for India, in the previous and current year, created a modest downward bias for the Q2 growth, because I think there was 15 days where people do not spend, and which came very close to also the Dussehra vacation when people spend, and as a result, that quarter got affected by good spending fortnight and a not so good spending fortnight, both occurring during that quarter itself. So the government believes that the trend in quarter 2 24-25 is only a temporary blip, and the economy will see healthy growth in the next quarters. Also, a generalized slowdown in manufacturing is not expected, as it is restricted to few sections only. Out of 23 manufacturing sectors, and this is an important fact that I would like to place for the consideration of the honourable members, out of 23 manufacturing sectors in the index of industrial production, about half of them remain strong even now. So we need to put this in context. Capital expenditure of the Union government has grown by 6.4% year-on-year between July-October 2024. So I'm very optimistic about improved performance going further and going forward. This addresses a large section of the MPs who spoke. I name some of them: Shri K.C. Venugopal, Saugata Roy, Anil Desai, N.K. Premchandran, Manish Tiwari, Lalji Verma, Saini Ghosh, Vishal Dada Patil, and Amar Singh. So all of them, different aspects of the economy, did raise these points, so I thought I should upfront start with these. There was equally a lot of voice about inflation being very high. This was particularly raised by 4 members who have also raised the previous issues. Retail inflation, madam, declined to 4.8% in 24-25, April to October, compared to 5.4% in 23-24. This is the lowest since COVID-19 pandemic started. Lowest retail inflation. Core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, remains at 3.6 and is at a decadal low. It's a very important data which we have to take on board. And we in the Union government remain committed to better managing of food inflation, where volatility in specific food items is weather-driven. Building buffers is one of the key performance which I can place here for members' consideration, particularly in key food items such as cereals, pulses, and distribution of food items like onions, rice, tuvar dal, wheat flour, gram, and so on. So these are happening through designated outlets at subsidized prices. I've spoken before on this. Bharat brand atta and Bharat brand dal is provided in essential commodities at an affordable price. The prices have been very reasonable, that the uptake is also very considerable. Bharat dal is available at 60 rupees per kg for 1 kg pack. Bharat atta costs 30 rupees per kg, and Bharat rice costs 34 rupees per kg, and they are available through particular outlets. Madam, the discussion again on the inflation is normally taken for the number that is revealed in the latest quarter, but I would again like to put a perspective before honourable members. Most often I've done this, and I think there is merit for us to look at it in this way, because it is important to understand the context and also the perspective to keep it as wide as possible. Madam, 1999 to 2004, headline inflation was controlled at 3.9%. The reason why I'm bringing this is something which I'll explain a bit later, but I'm laying the ground for that inference. Headline inflation was controlled at 3.9% between 1999 and 2004. Between 2004 and 2009, inflation surged to 5.6%, and again, you can compare it with the previous 99 to 2004, which I'm talking about. But when you came to 2009 to 14, it spiraled to 10.2%, representing a catastrophic failure to control rising prices. Come again to 2014 to 24, inflation was brought back to 5.1%. The pattern that is emerging, if you look at it for the last 25 years nearly, is NDA period times, inflation is well under control, whereas non-NDA, particularly UPA, it touches double digit. So let us not forget this pattern when we want to criticize one another about inflation and inflation control. Food, sorry. Right. Thank you. Thank you. You can be similarly introspecting on the impact of COVID and the wars which are happening now.
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Food inflation, madam, similarly, food inflation was a modest 2.2 during 99-2004. 2004 to 9, it reached 6.5. 2009 to 14, it reached 11%. And 14 to 24, it's back to 5.3%. So the pattern is consistent. 25 years, you split it between UPA or non-NDA and NDA, you see inflation is better controlled under NDA regimes. Madam, Honorable Member Manish Tiwari, I can't see him here, but I would like to respond to him, was talking about fuel inflation. I quite appreciate his concern, because this can affect poorer families as well. I want to place the data before. Under UPA 2, the fuel inflation was 8.9% compared to the 10 years between 2014 to 24, which is at 4.4%. But I just want to highlight the fact for Honorable Member Manish Tiwari's question. He talked about the LPG cylinder, and I'm sure this is something which most members will be interested in knowing about. Under the Congress, LPG cylinders were a privileged and scarce commodity. Before April 2014, nearly 45% of the Indian households didn't have access to clean cooking fuel. In contrast, madam, LPG coverage under the NDA has reached near saturation. Total domestic active LPG customers have more than doubled from 14.52 crore in April 2014 to 32.65 crores as of June 2024. Madam, an approximation, I'm not giving an exact number, it is expected, or approximation is, there are 33 crore households in this country, approximate, and 32.65 crore have got LPG cylinder connection. Near saturation in making sure gas cylinders reach every household. So I must credit the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas for having taken this distribution of LPG to households. Since after Ujjwala came in, we have made sure that many of those families which gave up the extra cylinder on Honorable PM's nudge that he gave, saying, please, those who don't need the subsidy, give it up. Many people gave it up. But Ujjwala grew as much as also the others who don't need Ujjwala. So total saturation is 32.65 crores, and from among this number, 10.33 crore Ujjwala beneficiaries also are there. So this 32.65 crores includes Ujjwala 10.33 crores. Ujjwala 14.2 kg LPG cylinders, 14.2 kg, the weight of the cylinder, is given at an effective price of 503 rupees per cylinder. I want to highlight the fact that if we are to compare India with its immediate neighborhood, you will know that India's LPG cylinders is very reasonably priced for the Ujjwala consumers that I'm talking about. Ma'am, the neighboring countries, as of 1st November 2024, the prices are like this. Nepal, it is 1,209.21 rupees. And I'm saying it in INR, Indian rupees. Sri Lanka, it is 1,211.24 rupees. Pakistan, it is at 1,095.41 rupees. And for Ujjwala customers, it is in India 503 rupees only. And immediate question would be, what about those non-Ujjwala? Because it's an essential thing for a household. Effective price of non-Ujjwala consumers, and I'm talking about New Delhi, is 803 rupees. So I want a clear appreciation of the fact, appreciation not so much for appreciating, but for recognition of the fact that compared to the neighborhood, India's LPG prices, even for non-Ujjwala, is far lesser than what it is like in our neighborhood. Manish Tiwari, member, I can't take, but that was essentially for his particular question. Madam, there were concerns expressed also about unemployment being very high. Several members raised questions on it, and I highlight some of the facts. The All India annual unemployment rate has been declining according to the periodic labor force survey report. Beginning 2017-18, it's been falling from 6.0% in 17-18 to 3.2% in 23-24. Unemployment rate was 6% in 2017-18. Today it has come down to 3.2%. And this is accompanied by a rise in the labor force participation ratio and worker to population ratio figures as well. A very important factor is the gender component, madam. The female labor force participation rate has been on the rise for the past 6 years, from 24.5% in 2018-19 to 41.7% in 23-24, and we'll be glad to know that this is largely driven by rising participation of rural women into the labor force. So this is a very noteworthy transformation that we are seeing. I would like to put it before you, Honorable Chairperson. According to the latest payroll data of the EPFO, cumulative net addition of EPF subscribers, which very clearly shows the formal employment. So cumulative net addition of EPF subscribers touched 91.1 lakh in first half of this year, that is 24-25, which is nearly 29% higher than the cumulative net additions of 70.5 lakhs in the same period last year. So it's an important, and we are clearly talking about the net addition. It's not the numbers who have gone, we've ignored it or anything like that. We are talking about net addition. Nearly 2/3 of the new subscribers in the EPFO payroll have been from the 18 to 28 years band. So for all of us who rightly have concerns about the youth of India, I would like to show this figure that the net addition to the EPF subscriber numbers has 2/3 of them coming from those in the age group of 18 to 28. So the youth of India are coming on board and getting into EPF-related registers. Madam, there was also concern and a lot of discussion about the procedure not being followed in sanction of contingency fund advance. I think it was member N.K. Premachandranji who raised this point. I'd like to respond to him because I think he highlighted, I appreciate the fact that N.K. Premachandranji gets into a lot of granular details of the budget and also of the financial rules. Here he quotes, or I quote, he said, the procedure given in para 5 of Delegation of Financial Powers rule regarding laying statement by ministers for giving contingency fund advance is not followed. That was his concern. I'd like to remind member N.K. Premchandranji that the procedural issue which you raised about withdrawals of contingency fund, an advance of 100 crores given to MNRE for the PM Surya Ghar. Am I right? Based on the request of the ministry, contingency fund advances are normally given to various ministries, and in this case, the contingency fund advance of 100 crore was sanctioned on 4th October 2024, at a time when the Parliament was not in session. This amount is being recouped, and that you see in the supplementary demand for grants, through the supplementary demand which we have placed now. So, Ministry of Finance does not normally permit consolidated fund advances when Parliament session is underway. In the instant case that he is referring to, Finance Ministry has not issued the sanction during the Parliament session. I would just like to mention it very clearly for Sri N.K. Premchandran's consideration. If at all withdrawals of CF advance has happened by any ministry, the minister concerned is required by rule to lay a paper in the House. So, and that's the extent procedure. Madam, similarly, I think it was one of the members, if I'm right, Larji Vermaji, who had mentioned that this supplementary demand for grant is being presented within 1 month of the budget. I'm not sure if Larji Vermaji is here. This is the first batch of supplementary demand for grants. And even as I opened my statement, I said the regular budget in this election year was presented in July. Now we are into December. We are several months away from July, not one. So that statement, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be correct, Madam. This has been reduced. The supplementary demand for grant, this one being the first one, I would like to definitely place on record that we have kept the supplementary demand for grants. Normally 3 are permitted. We've tried keeping it within 2 and never moving to the 3rd, except for 1 year when the 3rd also had to happen. So supplementary demand for grants are not too many, not too frequent, and doesn't happen for simple, small reasons. So I want to leave the data behind that this is the first one, and the amount, in fact, some of the honorable members, I'm very grateful, mentioned about it, that this time the supplementary demand amount itself is far lesser than last time, showing greater accuracy in the BE stage itself of budget making. So there is a greater absolute targeting of what is the budget estimate got to be, and there is not, therefore, much of a requirement to come with huge supplementary demands, and not too many of them as well. Ma'am, there's been a concern about sustaining growth. I broadly spoke about the growth and growth-related figures earlier. But what are the specific steps that the government has taken to push and to sustain growth was one of the questions. As much as private sector investment slowdown and more investment on infrastructure have all been points on which a lot of members have raised their concerns. I'd like to broadly say that even at the beginning we said there has been considerable emphasis on capital expenditure. Repeated every year, our capital expenditure amounts are only growing, not in just actual numbers, in percentages as well. That this year we allocated 11.11 lakh crores for capital expenditure. If we understand that together with the amounts that we've given to the state, this year particularly, we have given 1.50 lakh crores to the states as interest-free 50-year loan for capital assistance. If effective capital expenditure of the union government is taken on board, and what is an effective capital expenditure, madam? Includes budgeted capital outlay and grants and aid for capital creation. If these two are put together, you get the effective capital expenditure figure. And while 11.11 lakh crores is the capital expenditure announced in the BE, effective capital expenditure inclusive of our capital assistance to the states, interest-free, it is pegged at 15.02 lakh crores, madam. One of the highest in Government of India's history. This is the amount we are giving for capital expenditure, which has given a big role also for the states to build their capital expenditure account. And as a result, I think steps that we're taking to push for growth and to sustain growth are going through this route of capital expenditure so that the multiplier effect, which will spread through the economy and therefore give a greater traction and multiplier effect to the economy itself, will be bigger. Because I think we've spoken about this as well, which I'd like to emphasize again, that for every rupee spent on capital account, the multiplier effect that you get touches even 3.48, sometimes 4.3. That is the kind of multiplier you get when you spend on capital account, whereas if you spend on revenue account, for every 1 rupee, you would get only 0.98, less than 2 paise, less than 100 paise, which is 1 rupee. So that is not going to benefit if we just spent money or put money in the hands of the people, promote immediate consumption so that people can go out in the market and buy the essentials. They are important. But the multiplier that gives is far lesser than the multiplier that you would gain when people are given in situ jobs because projects are running, capital assets are being built. We have gone through that route, and this time the effective capital expenditure of the Government of India is at 15.02 lakh crores. What are the expenditure on which this amount is getting spent? Regional connectivity, robust highways, railways, coastal shipping, digital infrastructure, and multimodal logistics are areas in which we are spending this money, and also addressing skill deficit through package of 5 schemes which we have announced in this budget itself. And these have given results. So it's not as if I've spent the money, we don't know what is the outcome. The results are there for everyone to see. Increase in gross fixed capital formation to 30.8% of the GDP in 23-24, compared to an average of 28.9% between 2014-15 and 2018-19, pre-pandemic years. So pre-pandemic years, you had 28.9 gross fixed capital formation, whereas now it's gone up to 30.8%. Also, private investment by non-financial firms, about 3,200 firms, an independent research looked into it and said 11.6% is the growth in private investment by non-financial firms. That itself will explain. I'm talking not about the banks, not talking about the NBFCs, but other firms which are in the private sector. An improvement in the ranking of the World Bank Logistics Performance Index from 54th place where we were in 2014 to 38th place in 2023 to 44th place in 2018 and to 22nd place in 2023, particularly under international shipments category. Ma'am, you probably are aware that in every session of the budget, we have questions on tax devolution to opposition-ruled states, and that they have been reduced, particularly for Kerala, Karnataka, and Himachal Pradesh. Shri K.C. Venugopalji asked about it, I'd like to again, like the way I do in every session, again answer this question. Tax devolution to states is based on the formulation and the recommendation given by the Finance Commission. Within first 45 months of the 15th Finance Commission, the current Finance Commission, the tax devolution to these states is more than the total tax devolved to these states in the entire period of the 14th Finance Commission. Entire period of the 14th Finance Commission, 5 full years, and you can take 45 months of the current Finance Commission, which is just about 4 years and about a couple of months, 3 months. I'm going by state, madam. Karnataka during the 14th Finance Commission, which is like between 2014 and 2019, had 1,35,044 crores devolved to it. And within the 45 months of the current Finance Commission, they have received 1,41,937 crores, already much more than the entire five-year period of the previous Finance Commission. Himachal Pradesh received 20,830 crores during the 14th Finance Commission's entire period, whereas what they've received in the first 45 months of the current Finance Commission is 32,087 crores. Kerala, 71,713 crores during the earlier Finance Commission during its entire period, whereas in the 15th Finance Commission, which is the current Finance Commission, and in the first 45 months, 75,171 crores. So, no question, madam, on time, much more is what is being devolved to all states, and there is no difference between which state is ruled by which party. Everybody gets what their due is, and that's the principle with which Prime Minister Modi guides me, and that's what we do. Sir, slow pace of expenditure from the budget 24-25 is another question which N.K. Premchandranji asked. Union budget, the regular one for 24-25 was passed by the newly constituted Lok Sabha post-parliamentary election in August. And I've already explained that subsequently when the monies went to the state and when states got onto the ground to do their expenditure, almost 2 quarters were delayed. So this situation is broadly similar to all other election year. However, the total expenditure up to October 24 was 24.74 lakh crores. October 24. This is 51.3% of BE, which is broadly similar to pace of expenditure in up to October 2023. So it's not slow since after the second quarter.
Madam, I fully appreciate the expenditure made by the government during the 6 months, 51.3% of the total expenditure, more than that of the total budget allocation. My point was the most labor industry sector, that is the MSME, the budget outlay was 22,137.95 crores. There is a revised outlay. I can't understand what is the revised outlay at this juncture. And further, the expenditure till 12/1/2024, it is 992 crores. That means just lower than 15%. When the total expenditure is more than 51.3%, how in the MSME sector alone it is come just less than 15%? That was my question I have raised.
Madam, I'm thankful to Honourable Member for giving that clarification. I want to be sure that I don't repeat, but I would like to emphasize on the point that this budget gave particular 5 different schemes to enable the MSMEs to have greater liquidity in their hand, greater access to credit, and like never before, and I say this in particular, MSMEs only had working capital given to them. Our government has now made a provision for them to also have term loans for doing their business, which means they can take the loan from the bank and invest in plant and machinery. But they are, after all, small firms. They will not have huge collaterals to offer. They won't have security to give. So I'm grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister, who very clearly said, if we gave assistance for the small traders on the street, Swanidhi, we gave assistance for women and small people who are doing their business, PM Mudra, all of them are sovereign guaranteed, collateral free. Similarly, for the term loan that we're giving to the MSMEs, we are provided for sovereign guarantee. For the first time in this country, so Honorable Member Prem Chandran be informed on this, that MSME never had that provision in all free India, 1947 onwards, for a term loan and a sovereign guaranteed term loan. We have given that this time. But on the specific point of why it is not spent or why it is not acquiring that much of within this year traction, the same is the case. If the budget was passed in July and the department has to do it all in the ground within the next 4 months, it will have its own difficulties. But that's not to say this program will not continue. It will continue with the same gusto. So I want the fact that this year has a peculiarity, vote on account, a regular budget in July, and after which, when expenditure has to happen in all sectors with the same speed, some ministries do take the time. I'm going around visiting MSMEs clusters, establishing SIDBI branches there, asking SIDBI to give more loans to the MSMEs under the newly designed post the regular budget schemes. So I appreciate your concern on MSME, but it's not being brought down. Madam, like always, every session, you're from West Bengal yourself, ma'am. And I've heard Professor Saugata Roy interrupting to say, would you also speak on this? I'm speaking now. West Bengal has been deprived of funds from central government under Manrega and PM Awas scheme was raised by Professor Saugata Roy and Ms. Sayani Ghosh. I'm not sure if she's here. He's here, but Member Sayani Ghosh is not there. But, yes, ma'am, I'd like to, through you, put the facts before. Like every year, every other year, the state PMAY Gramin, Awas Yojana Gramin, was being implemented in West Bengal since 2016-17. The government has also released 25,798 crore as central share to the state since 2016-17. However, complaints of irregularities in the implementation of PMAY Gramin, including a selection of ineligible households from the Awas Plus 2018 list, removal of eligible households, and renaming of the scheme in the state as Bangla Awas Yojana have been received. The ministry has sought action taken report from the state government. Similarly, ma'am, and again, I've said this even earlier in very many different sessions, for under the Manrega, complaints of misappropriation of funds have been received by the government. Upon inquiry by central teams, the complaints were proven to be correct. And madam, I may add, the central team was accompanied by the state team as well when they went on inspection. They were proven incorrect. The complaints were proven correct, and not following the rule was clearly established. the Rural Development Department had sought latest status of action taken report. Now, the state government has submitted the ATRs, which are being examined by the Ministry of Rural Development. That's the current position, ma'am, on the question which Professor Saugata Roy has raised. Yeah, please.
What I want to suggest or what I want to submit, if any corruption happens in any part of the state, total amount of money why it is being kept stopped, where possibility of inquiries appears, central team, state team jointly detected any area, stop sending money over there. But for few places or for one or two places, you are blocking the total money. What would be my suggestion, what would be my request to you to release the amount to the particular state who have due from the center more than 1 lakh crore of rupees as a whole. So would you kindly take up these two issues, Manrega and Awas Yojana? I also want to request you, wherever corruptions reports are there, block money over there. But don't stop the full money for so many as a whole for the total state.
But haven't we stopped it on that ground only now?
Yes. Please, Honorable Member.
Ma'am, Chairperson, the Honorable Member is putting forth a suggestion, saying stop it where the corruption has happened, don't stop entirely. We've not stopped entirely for all over the country. We've stopped where the corruption has happened. उनके सुझाव है कि मैं पूरे देश में रोकना नहीं है, जहां करप्शन हो रहा है वहां रोकने के लिए मैं वही तो कर रही हूं। बंगाल में करप्शन हुआ, उसको रोकूं। मैंने गलत समझा है क्या? हाँ हाँ जी, आपके ओन स्टेट के विषय में ही मैं बोल रही हूं ना। यू वांट इंग्लिश और यू वांट माई टूटा फूटा हिंदी? Oh, you're saying in the state of Bengal, जहां करप्शन हुआ वहां ना देना, बाकी जगह पर देना। ये मैं कैसे तय करूं जी? मैं कैसे तय करूं? Madam Chairperson, even when I don't stop, even when I don't delay, even when I give an advance payment of, when I have to give 1 month, I'm giving 2 months, I'm accused of differential treatment to different states. अरे corruption हुआ ये साबित हो गया है और सेंट्रल टीम और स्टेट टीम भी साथ में गए हैं और उधर पेमेंट का रिक्लेम करो, ऐसे आदेश मिलने के बाद रिक्लेम ना करते हुए दोबारा ट्रेशरी से ही उसको भरपाई कर रहे हैं, मतलब करप्शन हुआ। उसके बाद मैं कैसे डिफरेंशिएट करूं? पूर्व मेदिनीपुर में नहीं हुआ, नॉर्थ बंगाल में हुआ नहीं, साउथ परगाना 24 परगाने में, मैं कैसे तय करूं? मैं कैसे तय करूं मैडम? और तय भी करूं, किसको मान्यता होगा? बंगाल चुपचाप अगर मानते हैं तो भी बाकी स्टेट्स मुझके ऊपर को गुस्सा नहीं करेंगे। ये आप कौन होते हो करने के लिए? सो पूरे इसको साफ करने के लिए मैं आपके द्वारा रिक्वेस्ट कर रही हूं, बंगाल गवर्नमेंट को साफ करो भाई। फिर आते हम, जितना भी प्रश्न उठाया गया उसको स्पष्टीकरण दो, एक्शन में दिखाओ, फिर कौन रोकने वाले हैं आपके पैसा? बिल्कुल देंगे, आपके पैसे देंगे।
दिन तक आप ये करेंगे, आपका जो पर्पस to make your party more influence in the state, it will never happen. Result will always be 6-0. Give money to the state. Poor people, hungry people are Hungry people are crying for hunger. So take care. I repeat
Okay,
you,
let us
I
proceed
request
with
you
this.
with folded hand, sare taka, all money
ये बोलना है ना?
being kept detained.
आएंगे?
It cannot happen for a particular state.
Madam Chairperson, I fully appreciate the concern. Our intention is not to put anybody to difficulty. But strictly, if you allow me 1 minute of indulgence, for the political observation which honorable member has made, आप जब तक ये करते रहोगे आपका सीट नहीं मिलेगा बंगाल में, मान लो ये सच है, फिर आपको क्या दिक्कत हो रही है भाई? खुश रहो, पूरे जीतो, पूरे आराम से बैठो ना। हो रही है दिक्कत, जनता देख रही है, गरीब के पैसा किसके हाथ में जा रहे, पार्टी वर्कर्स में हाथ में जा रहे, ये अभी खुलासा हो गया है, इसीलिए दिक्कत हो रही है उधर, इसीलिए दिक्कत हो रही है। और जब हम उसके लिए तैयार हैं, आते हैं स्टेट में, आपके टीम के साथ ही जाते हैं, अकेला नहीं जाते हैं, आपके टीम साथ में रहने के बाद भी दिखता है कि घपला हुआ, उसको सही करने के लिए मौका भी देते हैं, फिर भी आप यही राजनीतिक भाषा बोलते हो, नहीं जब तक ये करोगे बीजेपी नहीं आए। नहीं जी, देश अच्छा होना है, मोदी जी का संकेत यही है, अच्छा करप्शन रहित गरीब को जो पैसा मिलना है वो मिलना चाहिए। जहां घपला होते हैं हम साथ नहीं रहने वाले हैं।
एक का ही है, नहीं सर अभी बैठ गई है, उनका सुन रही है, आपने परमिशन नहीं दी वैसे ही।
I agree on that. Center and state will have to work together. I agree on that. Honorable Chairman sir, Speaker sir, मैं सिर्फ 2 विषय स्पष्टीकरण दे देती हूं, क्योंकि मेंबर देवेंद्र यादव जी दिखाई नहीं दे रहे, मगर वो एक इम्पोर्टेंट प्रश्न पूछे, और वैसे ही सुप्रिया सूले जी भी पूछे। हाँ, all right, yeah, I'm coming, I'm trying to answer as much as possible. Sorry. ऑनरेबल स्पीकर सर, मैं सिर्फ ये बोलना चाहती हूँ कि एक माइल पोस्ट रखते हैं प्रोफेसर सौगता रॉय डिस्टर्बेंस करने के लिए, ठीक है, आदत हो गए हैं हम सबको। फिर एक विषय उठाते हैं, उसको मैं पूरे विवरण के साथ जवाब दे दी, अभी दूसरे माइल पोस्ट, सिर्फ इनको ही मैं अटेंड करते रहना चाहिए, बस कोई और का जवाब देना नहीं। सो ठीक है सर, ब्लैक मनी के ऊपर सुप्रिया जी और देवेंद्र यादव जी ने प्रश्न उठाया, सॉरी धर्मेंद्र यादव जी ने, इसमें बहुत सारे स्टेप्स सरकार ने उठाए। Action has been taken on very many unaccounted, undisclosed foreign assets. मैं 3 कैटेगरी में उसको लगा रही हूँ: इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफ HSBC, ICIJ, Panama, Paradise, Pandora leak related cases. In connection with all this, information has been received through various leaks like Panama paper leaks, Paradise paper leaks, Pandora papers leaks, HSBC, ICIJ. Intrusive actions were taken in 120 cases. Further, undisclosed income of 33,393 crores have been detected under the 582 cases which have been taken up. A multi-agency group consisting of representatives from various enforcement agencies, organizations, has been taken up by the government for expeditious and coordinated investigation of various categories of foreign assets, such as Panama paper leak, Paradise, and Pandora. The second which I want to highlight, sir, is the constitution of the SIT on black money. The government, of course, has constituted a special investigation team, and that's working from 2014. Meetings of the SITs are regularly taken up, and action taken report is also reviewed. Particularly, cases involving undisclosed foreign assets and income have really been monitored. Enactment of Black Money Act 2015, the government enacted a comprehensive and stringent new law, namely the Black Money Undisclosed Foreign Income and Assets and Imposition of Tax Act 2015 that has come into force from 2015 July. The salient features of this Black Money Act, sir, are 30% of taxes imposed on any undisclosed foreign income or foreign assets, and an additional amount, a penalty of 90%, 3 times the amount of the tax, is also imposed on them. Penalty for failure to furnish returns or undisclosed or inaccurate details of foreign assets are also levied. A penalty of 10 lakhs is levied, and so on. Then there is a lot of through the court action. For the effective administration of the Black Money Act 2015, sir, the creation of a foreign asset investigation unit has been established. 29 foreign assets investigation units are set up under the Directors General of Income Tax investigation all across the country. Proceedings under the Black Money Act 2015 as of June 2024 in about 697 cases, raising a demand of more than 17,520 crores that's been raised. 163 prosecutions have been launched. Foreign asset schedule has been issued in the ITR. Then number of taxpayers disclosing, this is a very interesting information, sir. Number of taxpayers disclosing foreign assets were 60,467 in the year 21-22. Now it is 2 lakh taxpayers in 24-25. The Black Money Act is actually having a deterrent effect on a lot of taxpayers, that today they come forward on their own to disclose their foreign assets. Sir, very important data is 82 cases till 30 June have been referred to the ED under the PMLA Act. 82 cases. Sir, specific numbers were asked. Total tax collected under the BMA, Black Money Act, in crores of rupees is 2,655 crores as of June 2024. Total money raised under the Black Money Act. Number of cases in which assessments have been passed are 697. Demand raised 17,520 crores. Number of cases in which penalty has been levied, 341 cases. Penalty levied in crores, 9,971.47 crores. Prosecution launched, 163. Number of cases where assessment is pending, 531. Number of cases where penalty initiated and pending, 532. So these are the actual figures to show that the PMLA and the Black Money Act are actually giving their due returns of the taxpayer money, which is got to be obtained for the sake of the country. On the PMLA, sir, PMLA, sir, the Honorable Speaker, sir, ED has successfully restored properties valued at least 22,280 crores, and I'm only talking of the major cases. We all question about ED. The return and also the money which have been claimed by the ED is this one. Restored properties of 22,280 crores in major cases. And I would like to list the number of cases, sir. Vijay Mallya case, 14,131.6 crore, complete amount of the attached property has been restored to the public sector banks. So there's no way in which I can go on listening to very many members who, without the facts, go on saying, no, haircut has happened, big people are allowed to take the money, small people are being punished. No way. We've not left anyone. Even if they fled the country, we've gone after them. ED has collected this money and given back to the public sector banks. 14,131.6 crores only from Vijay Mallya. Nirav Modi. Attached properties is what I'm talking about, ma'am. There can still be some more cases, but attached properties and their monies have gone to the public sector banks. And this is the money that is obtained from them. Nirav Modi case, 1,052.58 crores has been restored to the public and private banks. National Spot Exchange Limited, NSEL scam, 17.47 crores have been obtained and given to the banks. SRS Group, which is the SRF Group's Pearl City and Prime projects in Gurugram, 20.15 crores, that is the property restored. Rose Valley, 19.40 crore. Surya Pharmaceutical Limited, 185.13 crore. Novera Sheikh and others, the Hira Group, 226 crore. Amrutesh Reddy, Naidu and others, 12.73 crores. Mehul Choksi and others, 2,565.90 crores have all been taken. And then liquidators in the different Gitanjali group of companies to carry out valuation and auction of the attached or seized properties worth 2,565 crore is also happening. Nafisa Overseas and others, 25.38 crores. Bhushan Power and Steel Limited, Supreme Court ordered restitution of assets worth 4,025 crores to JSW via its December 11 orders. So it is important to recognize, sir, that we have not left anybody in economic offenses. We are after them. We will be making sure that money which has got to go back to the banks will go back. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
अनुदानों की अनुपूरक मांगों पर श्री सुधाकर सिंह द्वारा 8 कटौती प्रस्ताव प्रस्तुत किए गए। अब मैं सभी
नहीं सर, पहले पूछ चुके हैं।
अब मैं सभी कटौती प्रस्ताव सभा के मतदान हेतु रखूंगा। प्रश्न है कि श्री सुधाकर सिंह द्वारा प्रस्तुत सभी कटौती प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में हैं वो ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष में सभी कटौती प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुए। अब मैं वर्ष 24-25 के लिए अनुदानों की अनुपूरक मांगों के प्रथम बैच को सभा के मतदान के लिए रखूंगा। प्रश्न ये कि अनुदानों के अनुपूरक मांगों की सूची के स्तंभ 2 में मांग संख्या 1 से 8, 10, 11, 13 से 21, 23 से 38, 43 से 54, 56, 57, 60 से 62, 65, 66, 68, 69, 71, 73, 74, 76 से 79, 81, 83, 85 से 87, 79 से 95 और 97 से 102 के सामने दर्शाए गए मांग शीर्षों के संबंध में 31 मार्च 2025 को समाप्त होने वाले वर्ष के दौरान संधाय के काम होने वाले खर्चों की अदायगी करने हेतु अनुदानों की अनुपूरक मांगों की सूची के स्तंभ 3 में दर्शाई गई राजस्व लेखा तथा पूंजी लेखा संबंधी राशियों से अनधिक संबंधित अनुपूरक राशियां भारत की संचित निधि में से राष्ट्रपति जी को दी जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में वर्ष 24-25 के लिए अनुदानों के अनुपूरक मांग का प्रथम बैच पारित हुआ। आइटम नंबर अनुदानों के अनुपूरक मांग का प्रथम बैच पारित हुआ। आइटम नंबर 22 माननीय मंत्री जी।
Introduction, sir?
Item
नहीं.
number 22.
आइटम नंबर 22,
23.
Introduction.
पहले 22।
Okay. Sir, introduce the bill.
हाँ, प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करने की अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें, मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करें।
Sir, I introduce the bill.
Item 20.
आइटम नंबर 23 माननीय मंत्री जी।
Reply to a technical objection which I have raised yesterday, that is regarding the laying of the statement before taking advance from the contingency fund of India. Madam has responded to my question that it is not the session on October 1st, Ministry of Energy and Renewable Energy has taken an advance of 100 crores from the contingency fund of India. So the rule specifically states that immediately after, soon after the advance, a statement has to be laid on the table of the House. Unfortunately, that statement has not been laid before the House. It is a technical defect and error on the part of the ministry that has to be clarified, because the Parliament cannot be taken for granted, because it is a rule specifically stating that the statement, if you are taking advance from the contingency fund, we are permitting it, Parliament is granting it. But you have to, in emergent cases, if you have taken any advance, it is a mandatory provision according to the rules which you have already made. You have to lay a statement on the House that we have taken this much of advance from the contingency fund of India. Unfortunately, such a statement has not been laid on the table of the House.
Speaker, sir, I appreciate the technical detail that Honorable Member Prem Chandran is asking. The rule specifically says that for the amounts given as advance to from the consolidated fund, contingency fund, is given before the session in place, for instance, or whenever it is given, will have to be reported in Parliament. That is exactly what we've shown in the supplementary demand for grants. 1 minute, let me finish. Supplementary demand for grants, where the advance given from the contingency was 100 crores, and the 100 crores are shown here in the supplement. Excuse me, you're a veteran in this Parliament, but I'm trying to answer your, no, Honorable Member, ठीक है.
Okay.
I fully understand this, sir. When that amount is granted, which is not normally done, granted during the session, then the statement comes separately. Whereas, wait a minute, oh my God, the impatience. Have I run away from the House? I'm standing here with your permission to answer this, sir. If I had escaped and gone away, I can understand them. Oh, no, she's not. I'm here to answer you. So, shall I speak in Hindi, sir? It'll be even worse. So, just for the House's information, I'm reading from the Delegation of Financial Powers Rule 2024. And this is Appendix 1, Paragraph 5. Where in an emergent case of new service / new instrument of service, it is not possible to wait for prior approval of Parliament, the contingency fund of India can be drawn upon for meeting the expenditure pending its authorization of Parliament by Parliament. Recourse to this arrangement should normally be taken only when Parliament is not in session. Such advances are required to be recouped to the fund by obtaining a supplementary grant. However, when Parliament is in session, a supplementary grant should preferably be obtained before incurring any expenditure on a new service, new instrument of service. That is to say, recourse to contingency fund of India should be taken only in cases of extreme urgency. In such cases, the following procedure recommended by 6th Lok Sabha Committee on papers laid on the table in the 4th report should be observed. What is that which has been recommended? Quoting, as far as possible, before such withdrawal is made, the concerned minister may make a statement on the floor of the Lok Sabha for information giving details of the amount and the scheme for which the money is needed. In emergent cases, however, where it is not possible to inform the members in advance, the withdrawal may be made from the contingency fund, and soon thereafter a statement may be laid on the table of the Lok Sabha for the information of the members, unquote. That is exactly what we are doing, where we have put it into the supplementary demand for grant, and even if that is insufficient, I've not finished, Premchandran ji, I've not finished. Don't worry, he's safe. You don't need to protect him, sir. And we've had such exchanges before. Maybe you have not seen, you may not have been in the House. So, sir, that's what we are doing in the supplementary demand for grants. I'm not even looking at him. I can see him wildly shaking his head, saying, no, not that. There is still this House in session. This House is still in session. And if such a thing is required, the ministries which have taken it are still having the time to come back and lay the paper that you so desire. And I respect the rule. And if that's not satisfactory, with your permission, he can still ask me more questions.
Motion of the consider. Manya Mantri ji.
23, sir? 23, sir?
23.
Sir, I rise to move that the bill to authorize payment and appropriation of certain further sums from and out of the Consolidated Fund of India for the services of the financial year 24-25 be taken into consideration.
प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में विधेयक पर विचार करने तो प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत किया गया। अब सभा विधेयक पर खंडवार विचार करेगी। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 2 और 3 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 2 और 3 विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न ये है कि अनुसूची विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में अनुसूची विधेयक का अंग बनी। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 1 अधिनियम सूत्र विधेयक का पूरा नाम विधेयक का अंग बने। मंत्री जी अब प्रस्ताव करेगी विधेयक को पारित किया जाए।
Sir, I rise to move that the bill be passed.
प्रश्न ये कि विधेयक को पारित किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ, विधेयक पारित हुआ। आइटम नंबर 24 गोवा राज्य सभा निर्वाचन क्षेत्र अनुसूचित जनजाति प्रतिनिधित्व का पुनः समायोजन विधेयक 2024। माननीय मंत्री जी।
Honorable Speaker, sir, with your kind permission, I move that the bill for enabling reservation of seats in accordance with Article 332 of the Constitutions for effective democratic participation of members of scheduled tribe and to provide for the readjustment of seat in the Legislative Assembly of the State of Goa in so far as such a readjustment is necessitated by inclusion of certain communities in the list of scheduled tribes in the state of Goa and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto be taken into consideration. मैं अध्यक्ष महोदय थोड़ा ब्रीफ में इस बिल के बारे में बताना चाहता हूं आपकी अनुमति से। अनुसूचित जनजातियों के सदस्यों की प्रभावी लोकतांत्रिक भागीदारी के लिए संविधान के अनुच्छेद 332 में प्रावधान किया गया है और 332 के अनुसार सीटों के आरक्षण को समर्थ बनाने और गोवा राज्य की विधानसभा में सीटों के पुनः समायोजन का उपबंध करने के लिए गोवा राज्य के विधानसभा क्षेत्रों में अनुसूचित जनजातियों के प्रतिनिधित्व का पुनः समायोजन विधेयक 2024 नामक एक विधेयक आज विचार और पारित करने का प्रस्ताव मैंने किया है। इसका बहुत ही लिमिटेड पर्पज है सर। ये 2002 में वहाँ परिसीमन हुआ और अनुसूचित जनजातियों की जनसंख्या 2001 की जनगणना के अनुसार वहाँ 566 थी, लेकिन उसके बाद गोवा असेंबली ने एक बिल पास किया, संविधान अनुसूचित जातियां अनुसूचित जनजातियां आदेश संशोधन अधिनियम 2003, और उसके अंतर्गत गोवा राज्य की अनुसूचित जनजातियों की सूची में 3 नए समुदाय नामक कुणबी, गावड़ा और वेलिप को शामिल कर लिया। तो एसटी की पॉपुलेशन एकदम से बढ़ गई, डिलिमिटेशन की प्रक्रिया पूरी हो गई थी तब तक। इसलिए राज्य में अनुसूचित जनजातियों की संख्या में जनसंख्या में पर्याप्त वृद्धि हुई है। वहाँ जो 566 थी वो अब हो गई है एसटी की पॉपुलेशन 1,49,275, करीब 1.5 लाख। इसलिए हम ये बिल लेकर के ताकि जो अनुसूचित जनजाति के लोग रहते हैं गोवा में वो रिप्रेजेंट कर सकें गोवा असेंबली में, इस लिमिटेड पर्पज के लिए मैं बिल लेकर के आपके समक्ष आया हूं। मुझे लगता है चर्चा के बाद जो भी सुझाव आएंगे उसके बाद आपकी अनुमति से फिर उत्तर देने का मैं पूरा प्रयास करूंगा। आपने बोलने का अवसर दिया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी।
श्री विरोल फर्नांडीज।
मान्य सभापतीक देव बरें करूं म्हणटा, कित्याक आयज हे इम्पॉर्टंट बिल महत्वाच्या बिलार आमकां उलोवपाक चान्स दिलो म्हण। थँक यू स्पीकर सर फॉर गिविंग मी एन ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी टू स्पीक ऑन दिस वेरी इम्पॉर्टंट बिल concerning the representation of the tribal community in Goa. Madam Speaker, when we make a mere mention of Goa, it invokes a picture of natural beauty, clean environment, the beautiful rivers, the lush green fields, the rich forests, the tall mountains, and the ever beautiful beaches where the world descends to play with the subtle ripples of the waves. But when did this beautiful land come into existence? 500 years? 1,000 years back? Tradition, folklore, and the word of mouth traces the origin to over 6,000 years. And that is where the first footprint of a tribal community was found. Madam, today the tribal community in Goa awaits with great anxiety as we, the elected representatives, have gathered to decide the future of a tribal community in Goa. Who are the tribal communities of Goa? आमच्या मान्य मंत्रीन सांगला की 2001 3 कम्युनिटी ऍड केले म्हूण, तशें ना तें। ह्यो कम्युनिटी 1000 साल पयलींसान आसा। Many of our honorable MPs have asked me with surprise about the existence of tribal communities in Goa. Well, as per a research paper submitted to the Goa University in July 2015, the Goan tribes consisting of the Gauda, Kundmi and Velip community were the first settlers in Goa, belonging to the Proto-Australoid group. popularly known in Goa as Mool Goenkar, which means indigenous people. It is pertinent to note that the tribal ministerial portfolio in Goa was first declared in 2010 under the Congress government, and a separate budget was approved for tribal welfare and development. Madam Speaker, I want to make it also clear that the Congress party has been trying to give justice to the tribal community for many years. In 2013, based on the promise of the then chairperson of UPA, Srimati Sonia Gandhi, the then UPA government under Dr. Manmohan Singh introduced a bill in Rajya Sabha on 26 Feb 2013. A 3 फावट आडून कशेय करून आमच्या कम्युनिटीक justice मेळना. I would fail in my duties if I do not take the name of late parliamentarian Shri Shantaram Naik, who on 4th August 2016 raised a demand in the Rajya Sabha for reservation of seats in the Assembly for tribal community of Goa. On 10 December 2021, our leader Srimati Priyanka Gandhiji came to Goa, went to Kape, spent an evening with the tribal community and promised them that the Congress party will fight the battle for reservation. It's a great historical moment for me personally to be a member of the 18th Lok Sabha to push for the rights of a tribal community in Goa. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the tribal community of Goa, I extend an invitation to all my seniors and my colleagues in this great temple of democracy to visit my state, meet our tribal community and have a meal cooked by them. Their cuisine is unmatchable, blended in flavors of the forest produce, the real organic vegetables, fruits plucked from the forest trees, the natural nuts and berries. If one participates or even visits the home of our Hindu brethren in Goa during the Ganesh Chaturthi festival, one can witness the rare edible fruits, herbs, creepers, root leaves from a rich forest as part of the traditional matoli. These are the produce of the forest that have been preserved by a tribal community. Today, as we sit in this temple of democracy and debate on deciding on the bill that will benefit the tribal community in Goa, I would like to bring to the notice of our honorable members of parliament that our tribal community had their own decision-making system, going back to thousands of years, wherein the village elder or the village headman, known as the Budwant or Gaonkar, would sit and take collective decision only after listening to the views of the entire tribal community. Similarly, there was a system called as Barazan, meaning 12 wise men who would assemble together and discuss and finalize various critical issues affecting the respective villages and areas. If we superimpose that system, madam, we too are following a similar system wherein all representing particular states or areas, we take decision by debating and discussing before arriving at a suitable decision. Madam Speaker, they did it thousands of years before us, and sadly, we are today discussing to give rights to our tribal community in Goa. Madam Speaker, today what we see in Goa, be it the roads, the bunds along the backwaters, the planting of mangroves along the coast, the terrace farming, the cashew plantation, the wells, the houses, the compound walls, etc., are the work of the highly skilled members of the tribal community in Goa. Shifting cultivation in the forest is a skill practiced by the tribal community. I also want to bring to the notice of the honorable members of parliament from Jharkhand and also from Bihar, prior creation of Jharkhand, that members of the tribal community of Goa who were famed for their skills in building of roads and in construction of compound walls and buildings were specifically taken to Jamshedpur, where they played a critical role in the construction of roads and other infrastructure in Jamshedpur. Madam Speaker, the bill that has been introduced proposes a readjustment in the representation of scheduled tribes in assembly constituencies of the state of Goa. The Goa State Assembly presently does not have any reserved seat for our scheduled tribes and has one reserved seat for the scheduled caste. The proposed amendments are aimed to address the disparity in the representation of scheduled tribes in the state assembly, as it is currently disproportionate to the scheduled tribe population in the state. Since the delimitation exercise in 2002, the population of scheduled tribes has increased with the recognition of 3 more tribes. In Goa, the delimitation was conducted in 2002 based on data gathered through the 2001 census, as per which, as the minister rightfully mentioned, only 566 individuals belong to scheduled tribes. As a result, the scheduled tribes in Goa were not given a constitutional mandated reservation in the legislature. The proposed bill empowers the Census Commissioner to notify the population of STs in Goa, based on which the Election Commission will amend the delimitation of Parliamentary and Assembly Constituencies Order 2008 to make way for ST reservation in the 40-member Assembly by taking into consideration revised population. This is where the doubts arise about the real intention of bringing the bill. Will our community in Goa get representation as soon as possible, or there will be endless delay? Madam Speaker, we have delayed giving the legitimate rights to our tribal community in Goa for decades. Let us not waste any more time in deciding on this very important matter. I hope that the government does not play with words, jargons, and legal terms to delay passing of the bill. Thank you. Jai Hind, Dev Bare Karo, Jai Goa.
माननीय सदस्य श्री धवल पटेल जी।
मैडम स्पीकर, सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं कि इतने महत्वपूर्ण एसटी रिजर्वेशन गोवा बिल पे मुझे बोलने का आपने मौका दिया। ये बिल मेरे लिए इसलिए भी विशेष है, मैं खुद भी आदिवासी समुदाय से आता हूं और जब से भारत में आज़ादी मिली है, तब से हमारे आज़ादी मिलने के बाद आदिवासी समुदाय को हमेशा कांग्रेस ने भटकाने का काम किया है। बस विरोध 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 और आंदोलन पे ले गए हैं, लेकिन कभी भी आदिवासियों का विकास कांग्रेस ने नहीं किया। 1998 तक जब पूरे भारत में आदिवासियों का पॉपुलेशन 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा था, तब भी आदिवासी के लिए अलग से मंत्रालय नहीं था। एक होम डिपार्टमेंट में होम सेक्रेटरी एक छोटे से ऑफिस में पूरे आदिवासी समाज का कल्याण की योजना बना रही थी। ये हमारे अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी थे, जिन्होंने 1998 में अलग से एसटी मंत्रालय का गठन किया, जिसके वजह से एसटी का खास करके विशेष से योजना बन सके, स्कीम्स बन सके, पॉलिसी बन सके और उनको एम्पावर कर सके, इसलिए अलग से आदिवासी मंत्रालय का गठन किया। वैसे ही पहले एसटी और एससी कमीशन भी एक था, लेकिन आप जैसे जानते हो कि एसटी की एट्रोसिटी अलग होती है, एससी की एट्रोसिटी अलग होती है, लेकिन कांग्रेस की सरकार ने कभी भी उसकी भी चिंता नहीं की और एक ही कमीशन रखा था। ये हमारी अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार थी, जिन्होंने अलग से एसटी कमीशन की भी गठन करने का काम हमारे अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी और हमारी भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने की थी। खास करके जो हमारा आदिवासी समुदाय है, 80% समुदाय रूरल एरिया में रहते हैं, गांव के साइड रहते हैं, लेकिन उनको सिटी की तरफ माइग्रेशन करना पड़ता था, पलायन करना पड़ता था। उसका मुख्य रीजन था, मुख्य कारण था कि वहां पे अच्छी पढ़ने की सुविधा नहीं थी, लेकिन कभी भी कांग्रेस की सरकार ने उसके लिए भी काम नहीं किया। ये हमारे अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी थे, जिन्होंने 1998 में एकलव्य रेसिडेंशियल मॉडल स्कूल खास करके हमारे आदिवासी बच्चों के लिए खोली और 1998 से 2004 तक 100 जितनी एकलव्य रेसिडेंशियल मॉडल स्कूल चालू करने का काम किसी ने किया हो तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने ही किया था। 2004 से लेकर 2014 तक जब कांग्रेस का यूपीए रूल था, तब एक भी एकलव्य रेसिडेंशियल मॉडल स्कूल उन्होंने नहीं बनाई। जो आदिवासी समाज के लिए हमेशा काम करते हैं, ऐसा बोलने वाले लोग एक भी स्कूल एकलव्य रेसिडेंशियल मॉडल स्कूल नहीं बनाई। ये हमारे मोदी जी जब 2014 में वापस प्रधानमंत्री बने तब उन्होंने एकलव्य रेसिडेंशियल मॉडल स्कूल के लिए विशेष फंड दिया, बजट दिया, ध्यान दिया, फोकस दिया। उसके कारण 100 से लेके आज पूरे भारत में 1000 से ज्यादा एकलव्य रेसिडेंशियल मॉडल स्कूल करने का काम भी हमारे प्रधानमंत्री मोदी साहब ने किया है। जब हमारा गुजरात राज्य महाराष्ट्र से 1960 में अलग हुआ और उमरगाम से अंबाजी जो हमारी पूरी आदिवासी पट्टी है, उसमें सिर्फ जब कांग्रेस ने 45 इयर्स राज किया तो कुछ चंद सब स्टेशन ही लगाए। उस कारण पूरे उमरगाम से लेकर अंबाजी तक जो हमारे आदिवासी समुदाय है वो अंधकार में रहे, दिया तले रहे। लेकिन कभी भी कांग्रेस ने यहाँ पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी देने का काम नहीं किया। 2001 में जब नरेंद्र मोदी जी गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री बने और उन्होंने ज्योतिग्राम योजना मेरे ही वलसा डांग लोकसभा में डांग से चालू किया और आज 24 घंटे और 365 दिन बिजली देने का काम हमारी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार कर रही है। और उमरगाम से अंबाजी तक जो हमारा पूरा आदिवासी पट्टा है वहां पे 1000 से ज्यादा सब स्टेशन देने का काम भी हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किया है। वैसे ही जो उमरगाम से अंबाजी पट्टी थी वहां पे कोई भी मेडिकल स्कूल, मेडिकल कॉलेज ही नहीं थी, ना साइंस के कॉलेज या स्कूल्स थी। इस कारण हमारे आदिवासी समाज के कोई भी बच्चे इंजीनियरिंग स्ट्रीम या मेडिकल स्ट्रीम में नहीं जा पाते थे। ये हमारे अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी और हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जब नरेंद्र मोदी जी थे तब उन्होंने ये मेडिकल स्कूल, साइंस स्कूल खोलने का काम भी उन्होंने किया है। जब कांग्रेस ने 45 इयर्स गुजरात में रूल किया तब कुछ चंद हजार करोड़ ही हमारे आदिवासी समुदाय के लिए दिया। हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी जब 2001 में मुख्यमंत्री बने तो 15,000 करोड़ का बजट दिया और सामने 20,000 करोड़ खर्चा। दूसरी पंचवर्षीय योजना में 45,000 करोड़ का बजट दिया, सामने 60,000 करोड़ का खर्चा किया। और अभी 2023 में आदिवासी समुदाय के लिए 1 लाख करोड़ का बजट देने का काम हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी साहब ने किया है। वैसे ही उसके बाद जब प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी 2014 में प्रधानमंत्री बने तब तक 2014 तक सिर्फ 25,000 करोड़ का बजट हमारे आदिवासी समुदाय के लिए था। वो आज बढ़ के 2024 में 1,25,000 करोड़ करने का बजट भी किसी ने किया हो तो हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने ही किया है। सिकल सेल हमारे आदिवासी समाज में बहुत बड़ी समस्या है। सिकल सेल की वजह से कितने लोगों ने जान खोई है। मैंने खुद भी अपने परिवार में मेरे बड़े भाई को सिकल सेल में खोया है, लेकिन कभी भी कांग्रेस की सरकार ने सिकल सेल के लिए काम नहीं किया है। 2023 में जब बजट पेश हुआ तो हमारे सिकल सेल के लिए 15,000 करोड़ बजट देने का काम भी नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने किया है। 7 करोड़ लोगों का स्क्रीनिंग चालू किया है और 4 करोड़ लोगों का स्क्रीनिंग भी खत्म हो गया है। वैसे ही स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम के तहत पूरे ST, SC और वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को 33,000 करोड़ देने का काम भी किसी ने किया हो तो नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ही किया है। जैसे हमारे आदिवासी समुदाय में अच्छे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है जो बड़े छोटे उद्योग खोलने में सक्षम थे, लेकिन उनके लिए भी कांग्रेस ने कोई विशेष फंड नहीं दिया था। इसलिए हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने खास VC फंड भी हमारे ट्राइबल समुदाय के लिए काम किया है। जो आदिम जुट है हमारे आदिवासी समाज में सबसे पिछड़े, बैकवर्ड और विकास से वंचित रहे ऐसा समुदाय आदिम जुट, उसके लिए भी कांग्रेस ने कभी काम नहीं किया। ये हमारे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी है जिन्होंने आदिम जुट के लिए हजारों करोड़ का बजट दिया। उनके लिए अच्छे घर, मकान, शौचालय और साथ में पूरा ब्रिजेस बनाने का काम भी उन्होंने किया है। हमारे हमेशा जब भी हम लोग आज़ादी का इतिहास पढ़ते हैं तो आज़ादी के इतिहास में हमेशा एक ही परिवार का नाम आता है कि उन्होंने आज़ादी के लिए अपना बलिदान दिया, लेकिन आज़ादी के लिए सभी समाज ने बलिदान दिया तब जाके हमको आज़ादी मिली थी। और उसमें हमारा आदिवासी समाज भी एकदम मुखरे था, चाहे वो भगवान बिरसा मुंडा हो, तात्या मामा भील हो, तलक्कल चंदू हो, तिलका मांझी हो या फिर मानगढ़, जहां एक साथ हजारों आदिवासियों को मारने का काम अंग्रेजों ने किया था, वो कहीं भी इतिहास में दर्ज नहीं था। ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी है जिन्होंने 75 वर्ष जब हमारे भारत के हुए थे तब पूरे साल उनको आज़ादी के अमृत महोत्सव में ऐसे ट्राइबल हीरोज को सेलिब्रेट करने का काम भी उन्होंने किया है। हमारे आदिवासी समाज के सबसे बड़े भगवान, आइकॉन, मसीहा भगवान बिरसा मुंडा, उनको भी कांग्रेस ने कभी याद करने का काम नहीं किया था। ये हमारे मोदी जी है जिन्होंने 2021 में 15 नवंबर जो हमारे भगवान बिरसा मुंडा जी की जन्म जयंती है उसको जनजाति गौरव दिवस, आदिवासी गौरव दिवस डिक्लेयर करने का काम किसी ने किया हो तो नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किया है। और हमारे भगवान बिरसा मुंडा जी का 2025 में 150वीं जन्म जयंती का वर्ष है, तब पूरे साल आदिवासी गौरव दिवस करके हम लोग डिक्लेयर करने का काम और सेलिब्रेट करने का काम किसी ने किया हो तो हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ही किया है। जब भी कांग्रेस सत्ता में आती है तो एक ही परिवार के लोग या एक ही परिवार के अपॉइंटेड लोग मुख्यमंत्री, प्रधानमंत्री या राष्ट्रपति बनते हैं। ये हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी है जिन्होंने हमारे आदिवासी समाज से आती हुई महिला द्रौपदी मुर्मू जी जो वेल क्वालिफाइड, वेल डिजर्व्ड है, उनको हमारे राष्ट्रपति का इलेक्शन लड़ाया और जिताया। वो काम किसी ने किया हो तो हमारे भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने ही किया है। और हमेशा कांग्रेस बात करती है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कभी भी सरकार आई तो आदिवासियों का आरक्षण ले लेंगे, लेकिन हमेशा भारतीय जनता पार्टी एसटी, एससी और ओबीसी को आरक्षण देने का काम करती है। उसको मैं खास एग्जांपल देना चाहूंगा। कश्मीर जो भारत का दिल है, वहां पे 2019 तक आर्टिकल 370 लागू था और वहां पे नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस और कांग्रेस वाले कहते थे कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी और होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह जी 10 बार भी जन्म ले तो आर्टिकल 370 नहीं हटा सकते। लेकिन 2019 में हमारी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने आर्टिकल 370 हटाया और वहां पे एसटी, एससी और ओबीसी को आरक्षण देने का काम हमारी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने किया। और जो आदिवासी के सपोर्टर है, हितेचु अपने आप को बताते हैं, उन्होंने जब 2024 का इलेक्शन आया, स्टेट का इलेक्शन, नेशनल इलेक्शन, तो उन्होंने मैनिफेस्टो में लिखा कि हम लोग, हमारी सरकार बनी तो आर्टिकल 370 हम लोग वापस करेंगे। यानी जो आदिवासी समुदाय को, एससी समुदाय को, ओबीसी समुदाय को आरक्षण भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने दिया, वो कांग्रेस की सरकार वापस ले, ऐसा बयान, ऐसा मैनिफेस्टो में कांग्रेस वाला कहा गया। और राहुल गांधी जब अभी अमेरिका के दौरे में थे तब उन्होंने ऑन रिकॉर्ड कहा है कि उनकी सरकार आई तो एसटी, एससी और ओबीसी का आरक्षण ले लेंगे। खास करके गोवा की बात करें तो 1947 में भारत को आजादी मिली, लेकिन गोवा को 1961 में आजादी मिली। साउथ गोवा है वो पूरा ट्राइबल डोमिनेटेड डिस्ट्रिक्ट है। वहां पे 2011 के सेंसस के हिसाब से 10% आदिवासी रहते हैं, यानी टोटल 1,40,000 ट्राइबल्स रहते हैं। लेकिन कभी भी कांग्रेस की सरकार ने आदिवासियों को स्टेटस देने का काम नहीं किया। ये हमारी मनोहर पर्रिकर की सरकार थी जिन्होंने 2003 में कुणबी, गौड़ा और वेलिप को आदिवासी समुदाय का स्टेटस दिया, उसको पार्लियामेंट में भी पारित हुआ। 2012 में मनोहर पर्रिकर जी ने 18 स्कीम्स ट्राइबल्स के लिए लागू की। बीजेपी की जो गवर्नमेंट है गोवा में, उन्होंने 2023 में विधानसभा में ये पारित किया कि एसटी का रिजर्वेशन पार्लियामेंट को देना चाहिए, ऐसा रिजोल्यूशन पास किया। और जब मार्च 2024 में गोवा के सीएम और पूरा भारतीय जनता पार्टी और पूरी टीम, एसटी की टीम मिलके अमित शाह जी को रिप्रेजेंटेशन दिया कि गोवा में आदिवासियों को आरक्षण मिलना चाहिए। और जब आरक्षण नहीं दिया तब भी अभी हम लोग भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने 4 ट्राइबल हमारे विधायक वहां पे है, उसमें से एक विधायक हमारे गोवा विधानसभा का स्पीकर है रमेश तावड़कर जी, जो हेड की पोजीशन है, वो भी हमारे आदिवासी समुदाय को देने का काम हमारी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार ने किया है। और एक अभी मिनिस्टर भी वहां पे है। और मैं वापस नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं, पूरी आदिवासी समुदाय की ओर से भी धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने गोवा में इतना इंपॉर्टेंट बिल देने का काम किया है। वहां पे हमारे आदिवासी समाज को इतने साल से जो अन्याय दिया है वो अन्याय आज मिटने वाला है और गोवा में आदिवासियों को आरक्षण मिलने वाला है। इसके लिए आपको सब नरेंद्र मोदी जी को खूब खूब धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। जय आदिवासी, जय जोहर, जय बिरसा मुंडा, जय श्री राम, भारत माता की जय।
माननीय सदस्य श्री छोटेलाल जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। ये गोवा राज्य सभा निर्वाचन क्षेत्र अनुसूचित जनजाति प्रतिनिधित्व का पुनः समायोजन विधेयक 2024 पर बोलने का मौका मिला है। अभी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के एक माननीय सदस्य जी बोल रहे थे कि बहुत दिनों के बाद यह बिल लाया गया अनुसूचित जनजाति के लिए। 10 साल से भारतीय जनता पार्टी की केंद्र में सरकार है। क्या आदिवासियों को याद अब आया है? बहुत पहले आ जाना चाहिए ना। इससे ये मालूम होता है कि आदिवासियों के प्रति सरकार गंभीर नहीं है और सरकार को तो एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव जहां चिंता हो रहा है, इससे पहले एक शिक्षा लाना चाहिए। एक शिक्षा जब रहेगा तब ये देश कायदे से चलेगा। एक चिकित्सा भी, और एक शिक्षा नहीं है तो समझिए कि क्या होगा। जाति जनगणना भी नहीं हो रहा है कि देश में कितने गरीब हैं, कैसे पता चलेगा? जब जाति जनगणना होगा तब पता चलेगा कि इस देश में अभी बहुत गरीब रह चुके हैं। उनका उत्थान करने के लिए जब तक जाति जनगणना नहीं होगा तब तक कुछ नहीं होगा। एक देश एक राष्ट्र के तर्ज पर पहले एक शिक्षा देश में किया जाए, जिससे गोवा प्रदेश और अन्य प्रदेश का भला हो सके। गोवा प्रदेश में आदिवासियों की संख्या कितनी है, उस आधार पर जनप्रतिनिधित्व देने का विधेयक लाना चाहिए और उसमें अनुसूचित जनजाति के लिए उनके स्थानीय जगहों पर विद्यालय, डिग्री कॉलेज बनाए जाएं एवं उच्च शिक्षा के लिए छात्रवृत्ति, स्कॉलरशिप शिक्षा के मुताबिक दिया जाए, जिससे गरीब अनुसूचित जनजाति के लोग पढ़कर समाज में समाजवादी समानता ला सके। जनजाति मामले विधेयक पर क्या इस देश में अनुसूचित जाति जनजाति के लोगों के लिए कोई ऐसा विद्यालय या डिग्री कॉलेज उनके लिए सरकार खोला है जिसे अनुसूचित जाति अनुसूचित जनजाति के लोगों को शिक्षा मिल सके? शिक्षा के बल पर आईएएस, पीसीएस, दरोगा, बीडीओ इत्यादि नौकरी मिल सके? अगर है तो बताएंगे माननीय मंत्री जी। यदि नहीं तो 75वें साल संविधान की वर्षगांठ होने के बावजूद 77वें आज़ादी के बाद भी सरकार कोई अनुसूचित जनजाति के लिए अब विद्यालय या डिग्री कॉलेज बनाएगी जिससे आदिवासी लोगों को लाभ मिल सके? अभी तक देश प्रदेश में 2% प्रतिनिधित्व मिलता है, जबकि जाति जनगणना 2001 की हुई है। अब तक उस आधार पर आदिवासियों की जनसंख्या बढ़ी है तथा जिस प्रकार से नौकरी में 7.5% आरक्षण मिलता है, ठीक उसी प्रकार से जनप्रतिनिधित्व गोवा में मिलना चाहिए तथा गोवा प्रदेश के साथ साथ उत्तर प्रदेश सहित अन्य राज्यों में भी लागू करना चाहिए। क्यों एक राज्य की बात हो रहा है? सभी राज्यों को ले लेना चाहिए था। संविधान के 75वें वर्ष के उपरांत तथा 77 साल आज़ादी के बाद आज भी देश प्रदेश के आदिवासी वहीं के वहीं जगह पर ठहरे हुए हैं, कोई विकास नहीं हो पाया है, सरकार सोई हुई है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, फिलहाल आदिवासियों की जाति गणना कराकर उपरोक्त अनुसार 7.5% प्रतिनिधित्व देना चाहिए। इस अधिनियम के प्रारंभ के यथाशक्य शीघ्र पश्चात राज्यों में अनुसूचित जनजातियों की अंतिम जनगणना यथा विद्यमान जनसंख्या जनगणना आयुक्त द्वारा अभिनिश्चित और प्राकलित की जाएगी। अनुसूचित जनजातियां आदेशों में किए गए संशोधनों के कारण अनुसूचित जनजातियों की अंतिम जनगणना के पश्चात इस अधिनियम के प्रारंभ की तारीख तक जनसंख्या में राज्य में परिवर्तन हो जाता है। वहां जनगणना आयुक्त अनुसूचित जनजातियों की इस परिवर्तित जनसंख्या को ऐसे प्रारंभ की तारीख को अभिनिश्चित और प्राकलित करेगा तथा अंतिम जनगणना में राज्य की कुल जनसंख्या से क्रमशः अनुसूचित जनजातियों की उस जनसंख्या के अनुपात को भी अभिनिश्चित या प्राकलित करेगा। उपधारा 2 के अधीन अधिनिश्चित और प्राकलित किए गए जनसंख्या के आंकड़ों को जनसंख्या आयुक्त द्वारा राजपत्र में अधिसूचित किया जाएगा। राज्य के लिए धारा 3 के अधीन जनसंख्या आंकड़ों को अधिसूचित किए जाने के पश्चात आयोग राज्य की अनुसूचित जनजातियों की समुचित प्रतिनिधित्व देने के प्रायोजन के संविधान के अनुच्छेद 170, अनुच्छेद 332, परिसीमन अधिनियम की धारा 8 और इस अधिनियम के उपबंधों को ध्यान में रखते हुए परिसीमन आदेश में ऐसे संशोधन करेगा जो आवश्यक हो और लोक प्रतिनिधित्व अधिनियम 1950 की दूसरी अनुसूची अनुसार संशोधित हुए समझी जाएगी। अनुसूचित जनजाति आरक्षण संबंधित सभी विधेयक 9वीं अनुसूची में शामिल किया जाना चाहिए ताकि हमेशा के लिए अनुसूचित जाति अनुसूचित जनजाति कानून हमेशा के लिए सुरक्षित हो जाएगा। इसे कोई खत्म नहीं कर पाएगा। संविधान के ढकोसला पढ़ने वाले लोग, सरकार के लोग इस पर क्या ध्यान देंगे कि नहीं हाँ 9वीं सूची में डाल दिया जाए? और यदि सचमुच अनुसूचित जाति अनुसूचित जनजाति आरक्षण संबंधित कानून संरक्षित करना चाहते हैं तो 9वीं सूची में डाल देना चाहिए। अध्यक्ष महोदय, असम राज्य के 1 करोड़ संथाल, उरांव, मुंडा जनजाति में नहीं है, शामिल नहीं है। इसे शामिल किया जाए और चाय बागान श्रमिकों को अनुसूचित जनजाति की मान्यता के लिए असम सरकार की अनुशंसा है। इन आदिवासियों को अनुसूचित जनजाति का दर्जा दिया जाए। राजधानी दिल्ली में करीब 15 से 20 लाख भील, गोंड, संस्थाल, उरांव, मुंडा आदि आदिवासियों का निवास है। इन आदिवासियों को अनुसूचित जनजाति का दर्जा देना चाहिए, दिया जाए। उत्तर प्रदेश में कोल, मुसहर, जो छोटी छोटी कई गरीब जातियां के लोग वहां पर निवास करते हैं, उन जातियों को अनुसूचित जनजाति का दर्जा देकर विकास करना चाहिए। आदिवासियों के लिए और जंगल जमीन की तेनुपत्ता हो या पीआर हो, वो स्वतंत्रता से अपना बेच सके। लेकिन अगर कहीं वो तेनुपत्ता बेचने के लिए जाते हैं तो पकड़ जाते हैं, मारकर जेल जाते हैं, तमाम नियम प्रक्रिया उन पर लागू होता है। उनके लिए स्वतंत्र होना चाहिए। 5वीं अनुसूची के प्रावधानों के सही अनुपालन में हेतु देश के यूपी समेत 12 राज्यों में मौजूद अनुसूचित क्षेत्र के इलाकों की चिन्हित कर डिमार्केशन किया जाए और 5वीं अनुसूची के प्रावधानों के अनुपालन की जांच के लिए सभी राज्यों के अनुसूचित क्षेत्र में उच्च स्तरीय केंद्र समिति का गठन किया जाए ताकि यह पता चले कि अभी देश प्रदेश में बहुत गरीब लोगों को कितने लोग रह चुके हैं, उनको जो है कि जनजाति का दर्जा दिया जाए। अध्यक्ष महोदया, आपसे मैं निवेदन जरूर करूंगा ये बात का कि ये देख लीजिए, बस 1-2 मिनट और मैडम, आपसे मैं कहना चाहूँगा कि जो परिसीमन आदेश में कोई संशोधन करने में आयोग जहां तक आवश्यक हो परिसीमन अधिनियम की धारा 9 की धारा 1 के खंड घ के उपबंधों को ध्यान में रखेगा। संशोधनों के लिए अपने प्रस्तावों को भारत के राजपत्र तथा संबंधित राज्य के राजपत्र में और ऐसी रीति में भी जो वह ठीक समझे प्रकाशित करेगा। ऐसी किसी तारीख को विनिर्दिष्ट करेगा जिससे पश्चात ऐसे प्रस्तावों पर उसके द्वारा आगे विचार किया जाएगा। धन्यवाद। जय अखिलेश यादव, जय समाजवादी पार्टी।
धन्यवाद। माननीय सदस्य श्रीमती प्रतिमा मंडल जी।
Madam, on behalf of All India Trinamool Congress, I rise to speak on the readjustment of representation of scheduled tribes in assembly constituencies of the state of Goa Bill 2024. मैडम, हिंदी में कहावत है, देर आए पर दुरुस्त आए। लेकिन इस बिल पढ़ने के बाद फिर से और एक बार ये स्पष्ट हो गया है कि ये सरकार बोलने में तो माहिर है, लेकिन तफसीली जाति और जनजाति के लिए ये कुछ करेगा नहीं। पिछले 10 साल जैसे झूठे वादा का सौदा किया, आने वाले दिन भी वही झूठे वादा करना कुछ नहीं। बिकॉज द बिल relies on census data from 2001 to ascertain the scheduled tribe population, which is outdated and does not reflect the current demographics. The inclusion of the Kundi, Gauda and Velip communities in the scheduled tribe list in 2003 and the substantial increase in the scheduled tribe population as per the 2011 census should have prompted an earlier intervention. The reliance on old data may lead to flawed representation adjustment, undermining the very objective of fair representation. Secondly, Madam, the bill acknowledges that the Delimitation Commission's work ended in 2008 and further delimitation has been frozen until after the 2026. This delay raises question about why this government waited until 2024 to introduce this bill. The delay has already deprived scheduled tribe communities of rightful representation for over 2 decades. Thirdly, Madam, the bill grants extensive power to the Election Commission to amend the delimitation order and readjust seat. While the Election Commission's autonomy is crucial, the lack of a clear and transparent process in the bill raises concern about potential arbitrariness. The absence of a clear framework for public consultation and accountability in the decision-making process is worrisome. The Election Commission's amendment to the delimitation process should include a mandatory public consultation phase. This would allow citizens and community leaders to voice their concern and suggestion, ensuring that readjustment process is transparent, participatory, and democratic. Fourthly, Madam, the central government is empowered to issue orders to remove any difficulties in implementing the Act. This provision will allow the government to make potentially significant changes without parliamentary scrutiny, raising concern about the erosion of democratic oversight. Any significant change should require the approval of Parliament, ensuring that democratic processes and checks and balances are maintained. Fifthly, Madam, the bill states that the readjustment of seats will not affect the existing legislative assembly until its dissolution. This means that even if the bill is enacted, scheduled tribe communities will have to wait until the next election cycle to benefit from the adjustment. These further delays justice and representation for these communities. The bill should include a specific timeline for the completion of delimitation process and the implementation of seat adjustment to ensure timely justice. Sixth point, Madam, that Goa has witnessed significant demographic changes since 2001, and the bill does not adequately address how this shift will be factored into the new delimitation process. The exclusion of updated demographic data could lead to ineffective or inequitable representation. The bill should mandate the use of the most recent census data, such as the 2011 or even provisional 2021 figure, to ensure that the readjustment of seats accurately reflects current demographic realities. My seventh point is the bill's provision that prevents the population figure and amendments from being challenged in court could be seen as an attempt to insulate the process from judicial review. These raises constitutional concern as it may infringe on the judiciary's role in upholding the rule of law and protecting citizens' rights. A mechanism for judicial oversight could be included to ensure that the process remains fair and constitutional. This would build public trust and prevent potential legal challenges. Madam, here I would like to mention here that for the sustainable development and for the economical development, our Honorable Chief Minister Mamata Bandyopadhyay every month provide 1,000 rupees to the SC/ST communities under the scheme of Taposhili Bondhu and Joy Johar scheme. Madam, how can we expect from this government that this government will do justice to the SC/ST people? Because this government removed Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's statue, holding the constitution in his hand, raising his finger towards the parliament building. This is nothing but to dishonor Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar as well as towards the entire SC/ST communities. With this, madam, I would conclude my speech and thank you for permitting time to finish my speech. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
माननीय सदस्य श्री DM काथिर आनंद जी.
Vanakkam, Chairperson, Madam. Madam, I stand in this August House to talk on this Goa readjustment and representation of scheduled tribes in the assembly constituencies, the state of Goa, from the DMK party. Madam, this bill is drafted very slowly. The government has not applied its knowledge. It is only interested on the previous census data. DMK government, from the day one, we are insisting that the government of India has to spend time and energy and also allocate separate funds to first take new census data. Before taking this census data, whatever you do may not be right or may be wrong also. We don't know. Because I can give you a very practical example. The place where I come from, my Vellore district, in Panchayat elections, certain constituencies have been allocated to certain communities. But we find it very difficult to find even one single voter in that particular constituency belonging to the allocated reservation. All this happens because of the lack of census data. Only if the census data is live or the census data is collected on time, in a timely basis. Even the previous speaker, they mentioned about the demographic data. If that is there, then automatically things will happen. Madam, we are talking about election of representatives from the region where the representation of the community has to be there. In Tamil, we used to say, Ellorum in Nattu Mandargal. What does it mean? Everyone is a prince of this land. Everyone has the right to rule this land. Everyone has the right to be represented or represent the community to which they belong to. So, if a new census data is there, automatically everything becomes clear, the representation becomes true, fair and just. Automatically, there will be nothing to complain about. Not only that, madam, whenever the government wants to deploy certain support to the community, where they want to bring in supportive measures to the community, if the census data is live, if the census data is taken on time, then automatically the schemes can be benefited. Madam, as a member of parliament, we get many schemes to be given to the SC/ST community. But if the census data is there, automatically we can choose those hamlets easily and then it can be given. But only now we go into the villages, we go into the people, and then by fair and mere means we get to know what is the community available, which is the maximum community. When a scheme is brought in, which community gets benefited. So therefore, from the DMK party, through this bill, I want to press upon this government the importance of taking the new census data, which will reveal the demography data, and that will be clear and just. And also, even the Lambadi community, which is a very important community that is there in Tamil Nadu and other places of India also. Even there, they have to be represented. Even their community has to be represented. Even they need an allocation of constitutional space in India. They are also BC and they have to be included also. So, I conclude by stating that the government should act at least now. The Honorable Prime Minister, along with the Finance Minister, should allocate enough funds for the collection of the census data, which will definitely give a fair and a clear way of doing this demography, madam. Thank you, madam.
माननीय सदस्य श्री जी लक्ष्मी नारायण जी।
On the readjustment of representation of scheduled tribes in assembly constituencies of the state of Goa Bill 2024. First and foremost, I commend the government for bringing forward this much needed legislation. The bill seeks to reserve seats for scheduled tribes in the Goa Legislative Assembly, a crucial step towards ensuring that the political representation of these communities is in line with their growing population in the state. While this bill addresses ST representation in Goa, I want to speak about a community that has been awaiting rightful recognition for decades, madam. I speak of a community where less than 1% of the population in Andhra Pradesh is literate, a community that is largely landless and without any steady income, madam. A community that has given India the great Hindu epic of Ramayana, the descendants of Maharishi Valmiki ji himself, madam. I am speaking about the Valmiki Boya community, a community that has faced decades of marginalization in the neglect, madam. And as I stand here today, I say with pride, I am one of them, madam. వారి గోవాలో ఉన్నటువంటి ఎస్టీల యొక్క కథ, ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ మరియు తెలంగాణలో ఉన్నటువంటి వాల్మీకి బోయల కథ, వారి పోరాటాలు మా పోరాటాలు ఒక్కటే మేడం. ఈ కారణంగా వాల్మీకి బోయ కమ్యూనిటీని కేంద్ర జాబితాలో ఎస్టీగా చేర్చడం కేవలం ఒక విధాన ప్రక్రియ మాత్రమే కాదు మేడం, అది న్యాయానికి మానవత్వానికి ఇచ్చినటువంటి పిలుపు మేడం. ఇంతకాలం వెనుకబడిన వారి హక్కులని గుర్తించేటువంటి అవకాశంగా భావించాల్సిందిగా మిమ్మల్ని కోరుకుంటున్నాం మేడం. చారిత్రాత్మకంగా 1871 నాటి క్రిమినల్ ట్రైబ్స్ చట్టం కింద అపరాధ గణంగా వర్గీకరించినటువంటి వాల్మీకి బోయ కమ్యూనిటీ దశాబ్దాలుగా తీవ్రంగా బహిష్కరణకు ఎదుర్కొంది మేడం. కాలక్రమేణా ఈ కమ్యూనిటీ షెడ్యూల్ క్యాస్ట్, ఇతర వెనుకబడిన తరగతుల్లోకి, అదేవిధంగా డీనోటిఫైడ్ ట్రైబ్స్ గాను, మరికొన్ని ప్రాంతాల్లో షెడ్యూల్ ట్రైబ్స్ గాను ఈరోజు వర్గీకరింపబడింది. అయితే ఈ వర్గీకరణలో ఈ కమ్యూనిటీ ఎదుర్కొన్న కష్టాలను పూర్తిగా వ్యక్తపరచలేకపోతున్నాయి మేడం. వారిని పేదరికం యొక్క చట్టంలోనే ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు కూడా బిగించేటువంటి పరిస్థితి కనిపిస్తూ ఉంది మేడం. వాల్మీకి కమ్యూనిటీ సరైన గుర్తింపు సాధించడానికి దశాబ్దాల కాలంగా ఎన్నో ఇబ్బందులు ఎదుర్కొంటున్నాం మేడం. నిన్ననే మనము ఇక్కడ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ డేని 75వ దినోత్సవంగా ఇక్కడ మనం కార్యక్రమం చేసుకోవడం జరిగింది. ఈ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ డేలో మనందరికీ కూడా సామాన్యమైనటువంటి బడుగు బలహీన వర్గాల వారికి అంబేద్కర్ గారు ఇచ్చినటువంటి రాజ్యాంగ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఆ హక్కును కూడా మాకు గతంలో అంటే 1956 ముందర ఎస్టీలుగా ఉన్నటువంటి వాల్మీకి బోయల్ని ఈ విధంగా ఎస్టీల నుంచి డీనోటిఫైడ్ ట్రైబ్స్ గాను, బీసీలు గాను ఈ విధంగా రకరకాలుగా మార్చుకుంటూ మాకున్నటువంటి హక్కులు కాలరాచేటువంటి పరిస్థితులు మేము ఎప్పుడుగా ఎదుర్కొంటూ ఇప్పటికే ఆర్థికంగా, ఉద్యోగపరంగా అన్ని రకాలైనటువంటి సమస్యలు ఎదుర్కొంటున్నటువంటి ఒక కమ్యూనిటీగా మీరు దయచేసి గుర్తించాలని మేము కోరుకుంటాం మేడం. ఇవన్నీ పరిస్థితులు చూసిన తర్వాత మా మాన్య ముఖ్యమంత్రి నారా చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు గారు 2017లో సాక్షాత్తు వారే అసెంబ్లీలో తీర్మానం చేసి వాల్మీకి లిస్టుగా గుర్తించాలని చెప్పేసి కేంద్రానికి పంపించడం జరిగింది మేడం. ఈరోజు దాదాపు 7 సంవత్సరాలు అవుతా ఉంది. 7 సంవత్సరాల్లో కూడా మాకు ఎటువంటి న్యాయం ఇంతవరకు జరగలేదు మేడం. దయచేసి మీ దృష్టికి తీసుకొస్తున్నాం మేడం. ఖచ్చితంగా మాకు న్యాయం చేయాల్సిందిగా మిమ్మల్ని కోరుకుంటున్నాం మేడం. అదేవిధంగా ఈరోజు ఒకసారి గమనిస్తే మేడం, మనందరూ కూడా మనకి ఉన్నటువంటి యూనియన్ మినిస్టర్ గారు ఉన్నటువంటి గతంలో ఎంపీగా ఇదే పార్లమెంట్లో వారు మాట్లాడడం జరిగింది మేడం. ఒక రాష్ట్రంలో ఉన్నటువంటి అసెంబ్లీ తీర్మానం ఏదైతే కేంద్రానికి వస్తుందో దాన్ని ఖచ్చితంగా అమలు పరచాల్సిన బాధ్యత కేంద్రం వైపు ఉంటుంది. అదేవిధంగా ఆ రాష్ట్రంలో తీర్మానం చేసినటువంటి ఆ ప్రభుత్వం ఏదైతే నిర్ణయించుకుందో వచ్చే ప్రభుత్వం మళ్ళీ దాన్ని తీసేయకుండా కూడా చట్టం తీసుకోవాలనే విషయాన్ని కూడా వారు ఎంపీగా చెప్పడం జరిగింది మేడం. ఈరోజు వారే యూనియన్ మినిస్టర్గా ట్రైబల్ సంబంధించినటువంటి వారు ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి దయచేసి ఒక రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం పంపించినటువంటి తీర్మానాన్ని వెంటనే ఆమోదింపజేసి దశాబ్దాల కాలంగా అంటే 60 సంవత్సరాల కాలంగా బాధపడుతున్నట్టు మమ్మల్ని, మా హక్కుల్ని కాపాడాల్సిందిగా మిమ్మల్ని ఈ సందర్భంగా కోరుకుంటున్నాం మేడం. అదేవిధంగా ఈరోజు చూస్తున్నాం మేడం, మనము ఒక 1 నేషన్ వన్ ఎల్ఎస్టీజీపీ రోజు బిల్లు పెట్టుకున్నాం మేడం. అదే రాష్ట్రంలో మేము ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్రంలో వాల్మీకి బోయలు 2 రిజర్వేషన్లు పొందినాం మేడం. ఈరోజు ఒక ప్రాంతంలో ఎస్టీలు గాను మరో ప్రాంతంలో బీసీలు గాను కొనసాగుతున్నాం మేడం. దయచేసి మమ్మల్ని కూడా ఒక క్యాస్ట్ ఒక నేషన్ ఏ విధంగా మనం అనుకుంటున్నాం అదేవిధంగా మమ్మల్ని కూడా ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ రాష్ట్రంలో ఒకే రిజర్వేషన్ మాకు ఇవ్వాల్సిందిగా మీ ద్వారా మేము కోరుకుంటున్నాం మేడం. అదేవిధంగా ఈరోజు చూసుకుంటే మేడం మా రాష్ట్రంలో ఉన్నటువంటి వడ్డర్లు కూడా ఎస్టీలుగా కావాలని చెప్పేసి చాలా కాలం నుంచి కూడా వాళ్ళు పోరాటాలు చేస్తున్నారు మేడం. వారిని కూడా ఎస్టీలుగా గుర్తించేటువంటి ప్రక్రియని చేపట్టాల్సిందిగా మీ ద్వారా కోరుకుంటున్నాం మేడం. అదేవిధంగా మేడం ఈరోజు ఈ యొక్క కంక్లూజన్ ఇచ్చున్నాను మేడం. ఒకసారి డిస్పైట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ క్లియర్ ఎవిడెన్స్ అండ్ well-founded recommendations, the Valmiki Boya community's rightful recognition remains pending, madam. In the past few days, I personally met with the Tribal Affairs Minister, Sri Juval Varamji, as well as officials from the Registrar General of India in the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment to expedite the resolution of this long pending issue, madam. Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji has promised to grant ST recognition to the Valmiki Boya community, madam. As part of honoring the great contribution of Mahasi Valmiki, the Prime Minister himself not only named the airport in Ayodhya as a Mahasi Valmiki International Airport, but also inaugurated it, madam. I stand here today confident that the day is not far when I will rise in the very house to speak on the scheduled tribes order bill, madam. This bill will include the Valmiki Boya community in the ST list, finally giving them the recognition and justice they truly deserve, madam. I would like to conclude by showing my full support for this important bill, madam, which aims to ensure rightful representation and justice for the scheduled tribes in Goa, madam. Thank you, madam.
माननीय सदस्य श्री आलोक कुमार सुमन जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदया।
महोदय
आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि आपने द रीएडजस्टमेंट ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स इन असेंबली कंस्टिट्यूंसी ऑफ द स्टेट ऑफ गोवा बिल 2024 पर बोलने का मौका दिया। महोदय, वर्तमान विधेयक का संबंध मुख्यतः अपने हमारे संविधान के आर्टिकल 3T2 से है। आर्टिकल 332 शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट और शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स को विधानसभा में रिजर्वेशन की बात करता है। गोवा विधानसभा में अब तक शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स का रिप्रेजेंटेशन या रिजर्वेशन अब तक नहीं मिल पाया है। इस विधेयक को लाने का मुख्य कारण और मुख्य उद्देश्य है कि वर्तमान में शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स की पॉपुलेशन 2011 की जनगणना के अनुसार गोवा में 1,49,275 थी, जबकि वर्ष 2001 के जनगणना के अनुसार मात्र 566 थी। पॉपुलेशन की वृद्धि के कारण यह आवश्यक हो गया है कि इतनी बड़ी संख्या वाले पॉपुलेशन को गोवा विधानसभा में निश्चित रूप से रिजर्वेशन और रिप्रेजेंटेशन जनसंख्या के आधार पर दिया जाए। महोदय, हमारे भारतीय संविधान के महान शिल्पकार भारत रत्न डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर साहब का मानना था कि किसी भी समाज की प्रगति समाज के निचले तबके की प्रगति पर निर्भर करता है। डॉक्टर अंबेडकर साहब ने लोकतंत्र के सामाजिक और राजनीतिक आयामों के बीच अंतर स्पष्ट किया था। उन्होंने कहा था कि हमें अपने राजनीतिक लोकतंत्र को एक सामाजिक लोकतंत्र भी बनाना चाहिए। महोदय, जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन का गठन 2026 तक फ्रोजन किया गया है। भारतीय संविधान के आर्टिकल 82 और आर्टिकल 170 के अनुसार अगला डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन का काम तब तक के लिए रोक दिया गया है जब तक वर्ष 2026 के पश्चात की गई पहली जनगणना के आंकड़े प्रकाशित नहीं कर दिए जाते हैं। महोदय, गोवा में नए समुदाय जैसा कि कुनवी, गावड़ा और वेलिप को शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स कम्युनिटी में शामिल किया गया था। इससे भी शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स की संख्या में बढ़ोतरी हुई, इसलिए आवश्यक हो गया था कि इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया को पावर दिया जाए कि वह द डिलिमिटेशन ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्री एंड असेंबली कंस्टिट्यूंसी ऑर्डर 2008 और रीएडजस्ट द सीट्स इन द लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली ऑफ स्टेट ऑफ गोवा में अमेंडमेंट करके शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स को बढ़ी हुई जनसंख्या के आधार पर उनको रिजर्वेशन और रिप्रेजेंटेशन दी जाए। इस बिल के पास होने से गोवा में अनुसूचित जनजाति को विधानसभा में इफेक्टिव डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टिसिपेशन होगा। महोदय, शेड्यूल कास्ट और शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स के कल्याण के लिए देश की वर्तमान सरकार महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभा रही है। हमारे परम आदरणीय माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और परम आदरणीय हमारे माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री नीतीश कुमार जी SC ST के कल्याण के लिए एक पहचान बन गए हैं। हमारे परम आदरणीय माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री नीतीश कुमार जी बिहार में SC/ST को मुख्य धारा में लाने के लिए कई ऐतिहासिक कदम उठाए हैं, जो कि बिहार में दिखता है। इस बिल पर अपनी बात रखते हुए मेरा यह एक सुझाव है कि ST/ST बच्चों को IIT, एम्स, NITs और देश के हायर इंस्टीट्यूशन में आत्महत्या करने से रोका जाए। इसके पीछे छिपे कारणों को गंभीरता से संज्ञान में भी लिया जाए। महोदय, वर्ष 2023-24 के आंकड़े अध्ययन करने से पता चलता है कि हम सस्टेनेबल डेवलप गोल्स में उसको अचीव करने में भारत कई देशों से आगे है। गरीबी घटी है और सरकार SC/ST की विकास को प्रायोरिटी पर रखा है। नीति आयोग ने वर्ष 2017 में यह प्रपोज किया था कि SC/ST के ऊपर खर्च करने वाली बकाया धनराशि केवल ST/ST पर ही खर्च की जाए। इसके लिए मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस से प्रिंसिपल अप्रूवल भी लिया गया था, लेकिन मैं इस सदन आपके माध्यम से इस सदन का संज्ञान में लाना चाहता हूं कि वर्ष 2018-19 में 9,818.24 करोड़ रुपए बिना खर्च किए लैप्स हो गए। उसी प्रकार वर्ष 19-20 में 11,042.26 करोड़ रुपए, 2020-21 में 19,922.35 करोड़ रुपए और 2021-22 में 16,942 करोड़ रुपए और वर्ष 22-23 में 13,961.54 करोड़ रुपए बिना खर्च किए लैप्स हो गया। मेरा सुझाव है और मेरा निवेदन है कि बिना खर्च किए गए लैप्स रुपयों को नीति आयोग के द्वारा सुझाए गए नियमों के अनुसार ST/ST के कल्याण पर ही खर्च किया जाना चाहिए और खर्च किया जाए। महोदय, मैं इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ और अपनी इन्हीं बातों के साथ इस बिल का समर्थन करते हुए अपनी बात समाप्त करता हूँ। धन्यवाद महोदय।
श्रीमती सुप्रिया सुले जी।
Thank you, sir, very much for giving me an opportunity on behalf of the NCP SP to speak on the readjustment of representation of scheduled tribes in assembly constituencies in the state of Goa. So Goa is a very, very small state in size, but it's one of the biggest contributors to India's tourism. And I think we're all very, very proud of Goa because it was one of the few states right in the beginning, before India was on the tourism map globally, besides us as the capital in Delhi. The economic capital of India is Mumbai. Goa was internationally known, and the contribution of culture, heritage, tourism was initiated in one of the first few states was Goa, and today we are giving the scheduled tribes a seat, which is a welcome step. I would like to thank the government and congratulate the people of Goa for dedicating this opportunity. But while I speak about the bill, I would like to reiterate a few points which my friend, learned friend, Pratima Montal has said. So because this is connected to a bill we passed in this very house a few months ago. So this exercise of delimitation was initiated in 2002. And it is regarding the Kunbi, the Gauda and the Velip are these of the scheduled caste tribes which have got this reservation now, and that's why we are moving this bill, because the delimitation commission has ceased to exist after completion of the task in 2008, sir. Under the Article 82 and 170 of the Constitution, further delimitation stands frozen until the figure of the first census taken after the 2026 has been published. Sir, I have 3-4 important points. I'm very grateful that Meghwal ji has come here. I would like to ask Honorable Meghwal ji just 3 pointed questions regarding this bill. I congratulate him for bringing it for the people of Goa. But my 3 questions to Meghwal ji is, Honorable Meghwal ji, is what is the position, the way Goa has this, in Maharashtra, Maratha, Dhangar, Lingayat, Muslim and the VJNT are communities which are looking for reservation. What is the position of this government? Because their earlier member, Mr. Dhaval Patel, extensively talked. I will come back to that point. But the BJP in Maharashtra says that the Dhangar community should get the ST reservation, while in Delhi earlier they had the member Hina Gavit, who is also a young tribal girl, but she had said on the floor of the house that they do not want this category for the Dhangars. So can the government clarify their stand on specific reservation for Dhangar, Maratha, Lingayat, Muslim and VJNT, which is demanding reservation. महाराष्ट्र में ये सारे मांग रहे हैं, तो इस सरकार का स्टैंड क्या है, ये मेरा पहला सवाल है. दूसरा सवाल मेरा ऐसा है कि इस सरकार ने ये delimitation they have brought in this. Now this, according to this note, it reads that there is imperative to enact the law to provide unalienable provisions empowering the Election Commission of India to make amendments in delimitation of Parliamentary Assembly Constituencies Order 2008 to readjust the seats of Legislative Assembly in the state of Goa for the scheduled tribes of the state. So this is applicable to the entire country. Now I would specifically like to ask this government that they committed to, we had that special session for women, the entire House supported it, for the women's reservation bill. So if the delimitation is so critical and Election Commission has made this special case, what steps is this government taking? Because 2026, it's very important to have the census. So has this government started? Because according to the demands for grants, the amount of money required is 12,000 crores. They have only given 1,000 crores. Even in demand for grants, just today we passed it. We spoke about it yesterday. So what is the position? Because we are already in 2024 is over. There's only 25 and 26. So what is the commitment to this? Because when will this women's reservation be? Because if then by 26 we need a reply, so that in 29, sir, when we all go back to re-election, the women's reservation bill should be passed, and not just passed, implemented in every state. So what is this government doing for that? We also, with Maratha, Dhangar, Lingayat, Muslim and VJNT, ये महिला आरक्षण बिल का भी क्या पोजीशन है? इसके आरक्षण के लिए आप क्या करेंगे? जैसे आपने गोवा में किया, बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन ये भी महाराष्ट्र की जो डिमांड है उसके लिए और महिलाओं के लिए आपका कब तक हो जाएगा? Sir, another question which is very alarming to all of us, sir. You also from Bangalore, sir, very large constituency. I also represent Baramati, which is 23 lakh voters today. Sir, delimitation करना हर सांसद के लिए ज़रूरी. हम सब पहली बार जब चुन के आए सर, हमारे 10, 11, 12 लाख हमारे वोटर थे. आज 23 लाख, 24 लाख, 25 लाख हो गए. तो बहुत बार इस पे चर्चा हुई है. परसों रेड्डी सर ने भी कहा कि आप ये जो MP लैड फंड है वो अभी हमें नहीं बहुत कम पड़ता है, उसको भी बढ़ा दीजिए. So delimitation is due in 2029 with all these reservations. So reservation and delimitation, will this government do it on the for 2029? My only concern is because we don't see much activity around the census. So that's my concern, if you could kindly reply for that. And 2-3 small points that Shri Dhaval Patel, very, very good speech. It's probably his maiden speech. I would like to put a few things on record which he said. He also spoke out of the bill, sir, with permission, in a very short point I will make, because normally I don't speak. The bill is about Goa and delimitation, but he was telling us some very nice success stories about Gujarat and the comparison. So I would just like to put some things, and these are about some leaders who were in the Congress before and now are in BJP, and it's nice things about them, and I think even the House should know the good work done in this country. So this Dhaval Patel said that the first time anybody had an Adivasi budget, I with great pride say that it was the Congress government in Maharashtra, which was the first state government in the country under the leadership that time, when Sharad Pawar was the chief minister. We had the first Adivasi separate budget, and Madhukar Pichard Saab, who unfortunately just passed away 2 weeks ago, who is now in the BJP, his son is also in the BJP now. He was the Adivasi Mantri, and that was the time it was implemented, and we take great pride, and I'm so glad that it was taken forward. Secondly, he talked about Atalji's wonderful work, so we also talk about, he's one of the tallest leader India's had, and as much he belongs to the BJP, he was the Prime Minister of India. So we are all very, very proud of Atalji's glorious career and the work he has contributed in India. He talked about the Eklavya colleges he started, and he said Congress ne kya kiya. I would like to put it on record. Congress started a wonderful scheme called the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya, where all the Adivasi girls from the 5th through the 8th are brought in and they are educated. Since this government is so committed to the Adivasi community, I urge this government to increase this all the way to college. Why 5th? Include it in Eklavya or find a solution, because this Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya for Adivasi girls It's just left half, nor here nor there. It was started during the Congress time between to the 8th, and it was supposed to be taken ahead. It's not been taken. And he said कि Congress ने कुछ किया ही नहीं आदिवासियों के लिए, college तो बाद में बने. I just would like to put it on record. There was a young lady who was a part of this house in the earlier called Dr. Hina Gavit. She was first in the NCP, then went to the BJP. Her father was in the NCP, now in the BJP. Both are doctors. Both were in the Congress, NCP, and now in the BJP. Both, I won't say Congress. ये कांग्रेस के पैसे से नहीं, सरकार के जो हम लोग टैक्स भरते हैं उससे ये सब इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनता है. So those were the days when families like this, even their girls, she's a very young lady, unfortunately she lost her Lok Sabha, she tried to contest Vidhan Sabha. I take this opportunity that there are some young, dynamic, doesn't matter whether she's an Indian first, then she's an Adivasi girl. So since he's so concerned, Mr. Dhaval Patel, about all this, he should consider, because she is in the BJP today, maybe she needs a good responsible role because she's an educated, qualified girl who's done so very well. So there are many schools and colleges like IITs, IIMs, many colleges started in the regime of 45 years. ऐसा नहीं है, वो कह रहे थे अंधेरे में था, ना हिना गावित ना विजय कुमार गावित, वो महाराष्ट्र में पले, बॉर्डर ही है उनका गुजरात का नंदुरबार से, वो अंधेरे में नहीं पड़े, वहाँ लाइट थी. So I think this whole illusion of selective amnesia, I think Parliament is a more serious forum. It's not just about in 45 years, andhere mein sab rahe. I think there was electricity, they did become doctors, they were in the Congress, the NCP, and now with the BJP. So let's put some things in context. I compliment Meghwal ji for bringing in this bill, and with full humility, like my friend Pratima Mandal has requested, that please, Mahila Arakshan ka bill, और मराठा, धनगर, लिंगायत, मुस्लिम और VJNT की जो आरक्षण की मांग है उसको भी आप सोचे पूरा करें, और 2029 में जब हम लोकसभा में आए ये दोनों का आप अमल करके इनको भी न्याय दे, इतनी विनती करके आपकी आभारी हूँ सर. थैंक यू.
Dr. Namdev Krishan, for giving me this opportunity to speak on the readjustment of representation of constituencies of the State of Goa Bill 2024. Sir, the bill proposes a readjustment in the representation of scheduled tribes in assembly constituencies of the State of Goa. The Goa State Assembly presently does not have any reserved seats for the scheduled tribes. The proposed amendments are aimed to address the disparity in the representation of scheduled tribes in the State Assembly, as it is currently disproportionate to the scheduled tribe population in the state. That is, the bill authorizes the Census Commissioner to determine Goa's scheduled tribe population, incorporating tribes recognized after the 2001 census. The bill also authorizes the Election Commission to amend the 2008 delimitation order, allowing constituency adjustments in Goa's Legislative Assembly to ensure adequate representation for scheduled tribes in line with the Article 170 of the Constitution, which deals with the readjustment of the number of seats in the House of the People and the Legislative Assemblies of the state and union territories. Between the 2001 and 2011 census, the ST population in Goa has increased into approximately 10% and is expected to have further grown since. However, according to Article 82 and 170 of the Constitution, territorial constituencies are to be readjusted after the census. The delimitation exercise remains frozen until post-2026 census figures are published. Thus, there is no mechanism to readjust seats to accommodate the increased ST population recorded in the 2011 census compared to 2001. Sir, for the first time in 150 years, India's census has been delayed. The Modi government is shirking its administrative duties for political gains. Even 2 years after the COVID-19 crisis is over, the government continues to postpone the census, aiming to benefit electorally from the delimitation exercise if it is conducted before the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Sir, the Modi government refusal to undertake the national level caste census has meant unequal representation of the SCs and STs in various domains, including parliament and state assemblies, and also local bodies, especially if their numbers have grown relative to the rest of the population. Sir, while the Modi regime has spoken much about good governance, it lacks the basic understanding that good governance involves drafting policies and programs informed by data gathered from the census and a national health and family welfare survey, etc. In the absence of such crucial information, the Modi government's schemes do not respond to the crucial ground realities. Speaker, sir, अभी कास्ट सेंसस पूरे इंडिया में जब तक होती नहीं तब तक SC ST को और बाकी वर्गों को भी न्याय मिलेगा नहीं। मेरा जो लोकसभा संसदीय क्षेत्र है उसमें गढ़चिरौली में आदिवासी जो है आदिवासी 35% है, लेकिन उनको आरक्षण मिलता है 24%, और वहाँ OBC हमारे यहाँ 50% है, लेकिन उनको आरक्षण मिलता है सिर्फ 6%, और 50% की ये मर्यादा आरक्षण के ऊपर होने से जो जनरल कैटेगरी में आते, ओपन कैटेगरी में आते, उनको आरक्षण है 50%। सो ये पैरिटी जो है ये हटाने के लिए जब तक सेंसस होती नहीं, कास्ट बेस्ड सेंसस, तब तक उनको न्याय मिलेगा नहीं। इसी तरह से हमारे महाराष्ट्र में OBC को लोकल बॉडीज में पॉलिटिकल वहाँ पर रिजर्वेशन था, लेकिन ये कास्ट बेस्ड डाटा नहीं होने के वजह से उनका वो रिजर्वेशन खत्म हो गया। अभी वो कास्ट बेस्ड डाटा जब तक आएगा नहीं तब तक उनको रिजर्वेशन लोकल बॉडीज में OBC को मिल नहीं पाएगा। इसलिए हम मंत्री जी से विनती करते हैं कि ये कास्ट सेंसस पूरे इंडिया में हो, सिर्फ गोवा में ही नहीं, और गोवा में जो इन्होंने बिल लाया है, जो ST की पॉपुलेशन बढ़ी है उसके लिए 4 सीट्स कम से कम वहाँ बढ़ेगी, तो वो अच्छी बात है, वो सीट्स बढ़ाए, लेकिन वहाँ जो सेंसस होगी सिर्फ ST की सेंसस नहीं होनी चाहिए, शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब की सेंसस नहीं होनी चाहिए, सभी पूरे लोगों की सेंसस होनी चाहिए, और एक कास्ट बेस्ड सेंसस पूरे इंडिया में कर पूरे सभी वर्गों के लोगों को, सभी तबकों के लोगों को न्याय देने का काम सरकार करेगी, ऐसी मैं विनती करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
श्री तापेर गयो। श्री तापेर जी।
ओके, थैंक यू चेयरमैन। मैं the adjustment of representative of scheduled tribes in assembly constituency of the state of Goa bill 2024 को समर्थन करने के लिए करा हुआ हूँ। आज हमारा सरकार देश भर में शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब जितना लेफ्ट आउट हुआ कांग्रेस सरकार में, मोदी जी ने और हमारा ट्राइबल अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री ने सारा रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को रिकॉग्नाइज हुआ, इसके लिए मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। साथ में आज मेघवाल साहब इस बिल को लाया जिसमें गोवा हमारा हिंदुस्तान का एक ब्लू आई है, पहचान है गोवा। अगर दिल्ली से मुंबई से नेक्स्ट स्टार्ट पहचान है तो गोवा है। इन टूरिज्म सेक्टर में हो, कल्चरली हो, वहाँ का सी बीच हो, इतना ब्यूटीफुल स्टेट में मैं सुन रहा था कांग्रेस ऑनरेबल मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट कैप्टन फर्नांडिस बोल रहा था, ये जो 3 ट्राइब 2011 सेंसस के बाद तो 3 ट्राइब कुंभी, गुंड्रा, बेलित, इस 3 ट्राइब को इंक्लूड किया है। उसके वजह से आज 1,50,000 करीब
पॉपुलेशन बढ़ा है। तो हमारा कैप्टन फडणवीस साहब कांग्रेस के वक्ता बोल रहा था कि दे आर द ओरिजिनल inhabitants of Goa. तो आफ्टर लिबरेशन फ्रॉम द पोर्टुगीज 1961, 53 इयर्स कांग्रेस का रूल था। उस समय इस ट्राइब को क्यों शेड्यूल ट्राइब में नहीं लाया गया, ये कांग्रेस आज हमें जवाब दे। मैं ऑनरेबल चीफ मिनिस्टर गोवा का उसको भी मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ, उसका मेहनत और उसका पहचान बना। तो आज हमारा सरकार मेघवाल साहब ने और मोदी साहब ने इस बिल को आज इस सदन में लाया है कि पॉपुलेशन ट्राइबल का बढ़ा है, तो इसमें डिलिमिटेशन पावर 2008 में खत्म हुआ। इसको हम इस अमेंडमेंट से इलेक्शन कमीशन को हम शक्ति देंगे, डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन गठन करके असेंबली में ट्राइबल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव का इंक्रीज करें और वहाँ ट्राइबल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव बढ़ाए। इसके लिए ये बिल है, इसलिए मैं इसको समर्थन करने के लिए यहाँ खड़ा हूँ। ऑनरेबल चेयरपर्सन, ये आज ट्राइबल के लिए हम सब, हर राजनेता ट्राइबल के लिए, शेड्यूल ट्राइब के लिए, शेड्यूल कास्ट के लिए, मोदी साहब ने आदिवासी गौरव दिवस अनाउंस होने का बाद, भगवान बिरसा मुंडा का जन्मदिन को अनाउंस होने का बाद, सारा हिंदुस्तान में हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी इस गौरव दिवस को मना रहा है और ट्राइबल का हमारा पहचान देश भर में बढ़ा है। और आज भी बहुत से प्रदेशों में ट्राइबल लिस्ट में आने का प्रक्रिया अभी भी चल रहा है। तो इसलिए मैं इस अपना सरकार को ये मैं कहना चाहूँगा, जो जितना हमारा आदिवासी लेफ्ट आउट है, इसको रजिस्ट्रार जनरल ऑफ इंडिया से, शेड्यूल ट्राइब कमीशन से और सेंसस के आधार पे इसको भी जल्दी से जल्दी किया जाए। और इस रिप्रेजेंटेटिव असेंबली में होने के बाद मैं जानता हूँ गोवा के हमारा ट्राइबल भाई बहन को कितना खुशियाँ मिलेगा। जिस चीज़ को कांग्रेस ने 53 इयर्स गोवा में पोर्टुगीज जाने का बाद, रूल करने का बाद भी जो बिल नहीं ले पाया, आज मोदी जी का नेतृत्व में गोवा में हमारा असेंबली में रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होगा। इसलिए आज ट्राइबल का जितना साफ प्लान हो, एसटी साफ प्लान हो, ट्राइबल साफ प्लान हो, ट्राइबल एफेयर्स मिनिस्टर हमारा पटेल बीजेपी प्रवक्ता ने, ऑनरेबल मेंबर ने कहा है, पहली बार इस हिंदुस्तान में, इस देश में अगर ट्राइबल के लिए सोचा है, ट्राइबल के लिए काम किया है, तो अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी ने फर्स्ट टाइम ट्राइबल मिनिस्ट्री अलग से क्रिएट हुआ, देश भर में ट्राइबल का ध्यान देना हुआ। साथ में शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब एक कमीशन हुआ करता था, लेकिन उस शेड्यूल कास्ट एंड शेड्यूल ट्राइब कमीशन को भी शेड्यूल कास्ट का अलग हुआ और शेड्यूल ट्राइब का अलग कमीशन बना के हिंदुस्तान में जितना आदिवासी का एट्रोसिटीज को प्रोटेक्शंस के लिए, शेड्यूल कास्ट का एलिवेशंस के लिए सारा सब ये सब बनाने का काम हमारा भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार वाजपेयी से लेके मोदी साहब तक ये कर रहा है। और जितना इस ट्राइबल एजुकेशन, स्कॉलरशिप, हेल्थ बेनिफिट सारा सब मोदी साहब ने सारा स्कीम्स दिया गया है। ऑनरेबल चेयरपर्सन, मैं एक चीज कहना चाहूँगा, गोवा में जो ट्राइबल एरिया है, ट्राइबल एरिया में हम हमेशा कहते आए हैं कि ट्राइबल है तो जल, जमीन, जंगल ट्राइबल हमारा राइट बनता है। तो मेघवाल साहब से मैं यह कहना चाहूँगा और इस सदन को भी मैं एक चीज कहना चाहूँगा, ट्राइबल झंडा लेके कहता है कि जल, जमीन, जंगल हमारा है, लेकिन अगर जंगल में अपना राइट क्लेम होता है तो फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट आ जाता है। जमीन है तो जमीन का निशान में ऑयल एंड मिनरल मिलता है तो वो सेंट्रल सब्जेक्ट्स आ जाता है। और नदी में डैम बनता है ट्राइबल जगह में और वहाँ कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स होता है तो ट्राइबल राइट्स उसमें ट्राइबल का हिस्सा बनना चाहिए। ट्राइबल उस कम्युनिटी जिस जमीन में है, जंगल में है, जल में है, उसका भी अधिकार ट्राइबल को भी शेयर मिलना चाहिए। ये कानून भी मेघवाल साहब को देखना होगा और हमारा सरकार देखना होगा, क्योंकि ये जल, जंगल, जमीन हमारा राइट बनता है, लेकिन जब हमारा बेनिफिट जिसमें होना है उसमें कहीं कमी है, इसलिए इस राइट को भी देखना है। इस सदन को ऑनरेबल चेयरपर्सन में एक चीज कहना चाहूंगा, ये लेजिस्लेटिव रिप्रेजेंटेटिव बिल है लेकिन ट्राइबल रिलेटेड है। कांग्रेस राज में ये सेंटिनल आइलैंड, अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड में सेंटिनल आइलैंड में सेंटिनल ट्राइब है। कांग्रेस समय में एक कानून जारी किया है कि उस सेंटिनल ट्राइब को डिस्टर्ब नहीं करना है, वहां कोई नहीं जाना, ये कानून बना के रखा है। लेकिन आज मैं अपना सरकार को कहना चाहूंगा, इस 21st सेंचुरी में इस भारत देश में ऐसा ट्राइबल, सेंटिनल ट्राइबल को हम कैसे छोड़ दे, वहां से वहां मैं क्यों कम्युनिकेशन ना करूं, उससे भी कम्युनिकेशन करके आफ्टर ऑल ह्यूमन बीइंग है। कांग्रेस राज से लेके आज तक उस सेंटिनल आइलैंड का इनहेबिटेंट सेंटिनल को, इसको हम कम्युनिकेट करना चाहिए और इसको भी ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट रेस में लाना चाहिए, कम्युनिकेट करना चाहिए। ये मेरा सरकार से अपील है। साथ में मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि हम ट्राइबल अरुणाचल प्रदेश से मैं आता हूं। अरुणाचल प्रदेश में एक ऐसा जगह है विजयनगर, एकदम बिल्कुल चाइना, तिब्बत एंड म्यांमार बॉर्डर में विजयनगर। After 1962, there were no inhabitants. So one army officer एक्सपेडिशन में जाके वहाँ का लिसु योबिन कम्युनिटी को पहचाना और पहचान के उसको स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, अरुणाचल स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट स्टेट ट्राइबल देता है, ड्यूली रिकमेंडेड टू शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब मिनिस्ट्री। RJ has also recommended and ST Commission has also recommended। तो इस चीज को भी हमारा सरकार देखे कि हमारा योबिन कम्युनिटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल शेड्यूल ट्राइब का स्टेटस मिले। ये मेरा आपका माध्यम से मैं मंत्री से भी अपील करता हूँ। साथ में अंत में सर only one point। After 1962 aggression in Arunachal, the army retired, Assam regiment retired, Assam Rifle retirement, all the peoples had been settled in Vijayanagar. Now as इन लोगों का वहाँ रेसिडेंशियल सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है, वहाँ 62 में दाम कर दिया। उस गुरकास, उस पंजाबीस, उस आसामीस, उस कम्युनिटी को भी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने उस पॉलिसी को बना के इन लोग को सेटल करवाया है। तो गुरका को भी वहाँ एक पहचान बना के अगर रखता है तो हमारा देश के लिए और समाज के लिए अच्छा होगा। मैं यही प्रार्थना करता हूँ। थैंक यू।
श्री नरेश मस्कन जी।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष महोदय। मैं सबसे पहले महत्वपूर्ण विधेयक को लाने के लिए पंतप्रधान श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और सरकार को धन्यवाद देता हूं। द रीएडजस्टमेंट ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स इन असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस ऑफ द स्टेट ऑफ गोवा बिल 2024 एक ऐतिहासिक कदम है। ये विधेयक को हमारी पार्टी शिवसेना और हमारे मुख्य नेता एकनाथ शिंदे जी की ओर से मैं समर्थन देने के लिए यहाँ खड़ा हूँ। यह विधेयक गोवा विधानसभा में शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स को प्रतिनिधित्व का अधिकार देता है। दशकों से ये समुदाय उपेक्षित था, लेकिन अब सरकार के इस कदम से उन्हें न्याय और सम्मान मिलेगा। यह विधेयक न केवल सामाजिक न्याय की दिशा में एक मील का पत्थर है, बल्कि ये संविधान के उद्देश्यों को भी पूर्ण करता है। हमारा देश आदिवासी समाज की उन्नति और सशक्तिकरण के लिए सुनियोजित योजनाओं और ठोस नीतियों के माध्यम से आगे बढ़ रहा है। मैं पंतप्रधान नरेंद्र मोदी जी को विशेष धन्यवाद देता हूं, जिन्होंने भगवान बिरसा मुंडा जैसे महान आदिवासी स्वतंत्रता सेनानी को श्रद्धांजलि देते हुए उनकी जयंती को जनजातीय गौरव दिवस के रूप में घोषित किया। पंतप्रधान जी ने 2 अक्टूबर 2024 को झारखंड के हजारीबाग से इस योजना की शुरुआत की। 79,150 करोड़ के इस प्रोग्राम के तहत 63,000 से अधिक जनजातीय गांवों में से स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा और आजीविका के अवसर बढ़ाए जाएंगे। इससे 5 करोड़ जनजातीय लोगों को सीधा लाभ मिलेगा। सरकार ने आदिवासी बच्चों को गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा देने के लिए 40 नए EMRA स्कूल खोले और 25 की आधारशिला रखी। 2,800 करोड़ की लागत से बने ये स्कूल नोएडा विश्वविद्यालय के समकक्ष है, जहां स्थानीय कला, संस्कृति और खेल को बढ़ावा मिलता है। प्रधानमंत्री जनजातीय आदिवासी न्याय महाअभियान, इस योजना के तहत सड़क कनेक्टिविटी, आंगनवाड़ी सेंटर्स और स्कूल हॉस्टल बनाए जा रहे हैं। PVTJ परिवारों के लिए 75,800 से अधिक घरों में बिजली पहुंचाई जा रही है। 500 आंगनवाड़ी केंद्र शुरू की गए हैं और महाराष्ट्र में भी सभी काम हो रहा है। इससे पहले एक हमारे महाराष्ट्र के नेता ने बोली कि आदिवासी लोगों के लिए, शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स कम्युनिटी के लिए हम लोगों ने ये किया, हम लोगों ने ये वो किया। धनगर, धनवट, ये जाति, उनको रिजर्वेशन देना चाहिए। ये नेता अब अभी इधर नहीं है, बीजेपी में है, लेकिन ये ST कम्युनिटी में झगड़ा लगाने का काम भी कांग्रेस के सरकार ने की है। अभी वो नेता किधर है उससे मतलब नहीं, पार्टी का एजेंडा क्या होता है इससे मतलब है। महाराष्ट्र में SC रहेंगे, ST रहेंगे, सब जाति जमाती में झगड़ा लगाने का काम एक कांग्रेस ने किया है। प्री मैट्रिक और पोस्ट मैट्रिक स्कॉलरशिप ट्राइबल बच्चों को शिक्षा के लिए फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट भी ये सरकार ने दिया है। आर्थिक सशक्तिकरण के माध्यम से ट्राइबल उत्पादनों को ई-कॉमर्स से माध्यम से बाजार में ये सरकार ला रही है। आदिवासी महिला सशक्तिकरण योजना से ट्राइबल महिलाओं को 2 लाख तक का सॉफ्ट लोन 4% ब्याज दर पे दिया जा रहा है। सरकारी इन योजनाओं का उद्देश्य आदिवासी समाज का सर्वांगीण विकास और उनको मुख्य धारा में शामिल करना। ये सरकार संविधान के भावना के अनुरूप भारत रत्न बाबा साहेब अंबेडकर जी के सपनों को साकार कर रहा हूं। मैं 2 दिन से यहां सुन रहा हूं, बहुत से कांग्रेस के लीडर बोलते समय भीमराव अंबेडकर बोलते हैं, BR अंबेडकर बोलते हैं, जैसे मोहनदास करमचंद गांधी जी को महात्मा गांधी कहते हैं, जवाहरलाल नेहरू को पंडित नेहरू कहते हैं, वैसे बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर जी को बाबा साहेब कहना चाहिए। मेरे सभागृह को विनंती है कि ये लोगों ने दी पदवी है, फिर बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर जी के नाम लेते समय बाबा साहब नाम लेने को क्यों कचराते हैं? ये मैं आपको एक सवाल पूछता हूं। लेकिन जब हम पिछली सरकार की बात करते हैं, विशेष रूप से कांग्रेस की शासन की, तो हमें याद आता है SC ST कल्याण के लिए आवंटित राशि किस तरह उन्होंने डाइवर्ट किया। कांग्रेस शासित राज्यों में ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज के लिए योजना सिर्फ कागजों तक सीमित रही। यही कारण दशकों तक ये वर्ग और न्याय विकास से वंचित रहा। हमारे ठाणे जिला में सबसे ज्यादा ट्राइबल एरिया है। पालघर, डानू, जव्हार, मोखाडा, वहां रोड भी नहीं थे, पानी भी नहीं थी। सिर्फ कांग्रेस ने उन लोगों से वोट पाए, लेकिन काम कुछ भी नहीं किया। लेकिन मोदी जी की सत्ता आने के बाद वहां काम शुरू हो रहा है। वहां बहुत बड़ा बंदर वहां आ रहा है, सबसे ज्यादा खर्चा करके राष्ट्र का सबसे बड़ा बंदर वहां आ रहा है। हमारे संविधान के अनुच्छेद से 244 और 275 के तहत जनजातीय समाज को विशेष अधिकार संसाधन सुनिश्चित किया है, लेकिन ये सरकार है जिसने संविधान के मूल भाव को सच्चे अर्थों में यहाँ लागू किया है। भगवान एक मिनट सर, भगवान बिरसा मुंडा के संघर्ष और बलिदान की याद बनाए गए ट्राइबल फ्रीडम फाइटर म्यूजियम देश में आदिवासी संस्कृति को सम्मान मिला है। आज ये विधेयक आदिवासी समाज के सशक्तिकरण का प्रतीक है। मैं सरकार का आग्रह करता हूं कि आदिवासी कल्याण के इन योजनाओं को और मजबूती से लागू करें। मैं विपक्ष से अपील करता हूं कि वे संकीर्ण राजनीति के ऊपर से उठकर देश के जनजातीय समाज के हित में कार्य करें। धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी महोदय।
राजू बिष्टा, श्री राजू बिष्टा।
धन्यवाद सर। मैं रीएडजस्टमेंट ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब एसटी इन असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी ऑफ स्टेट ऑफ गोवा बिल 2024 के समर्थन में बोलने के लिए खड़ा हूं। सर, इस बिल के बारे में काफ़ी चर्चा हो चुकी है और अगर समय रहेगा तो विस्तार से मैं भी अंत में विषय रखूंगा, लेकिन उससे पहले मैं सीधा अपने क्षेत्र यानी दार्जिलिंग तराई डूवर्स की बात रखना चाहता हूं। सर, कल ही हम सब ने देखा कि संविधान को 75 वर्ष पूरे हुए हैं और संविधान के कारण समस्त भारत में हर एक समुदाय को जो है न्याय मिला है, लेकिन गोरखाओं का इतना कंट्रीब्यूशन होते हुए भी 75 साल से ज़्यादा समय हो गया देश को आज़ाद हुए, लेकिन आज भी गोरखाओं को वो न्याय जो सम्मान उनको मिलना चाहिए था वो आज तक प्राप्त नहीं हुआ। और ये जो देरी हो रही, मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ न्याय के बजाय उनके साथ अन्याय हो रहा है। मैं थोड़ा हिस्ट्री में जाना चाहूँगा सर। ब्रिटिश काल के अंदर में भी जो दार्जिलिंग तराई डूवर्स का क्षेत्र होता था वो अलग अलग एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिजिम के तहत होता था। जैसे 61 तक नॉन रेगुलेटेड एरिया था। मैं ये इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ, ये सब ट्राइबल एरिया में ही लागू होता था और 61 से लेकर के 70 तक 1861 टू 70 ये सेमी रेगुलेटेड एरिया था। फिर 1870 से 74 तक नॉन रेगुलेटेड एरिया हुआ। फिर 1874 से 1990 तक शेड्यूल डिस्ट्रिक्ट हुआ। फिर 1990 से 1935 तक ये बैकवर्ड ट्रैक रहा और 1935 से लेके 47 तक ये पार्शली एक्सक्लूडेड एरिया रहा। इस तरह से अलग अलग एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सेटअप के अंतर्गत दार्जिलिंग तराई डूवर्स का क्षेत्र रहा। ये सारे स्टेटस ट्राइबल जहां बसते थे उन्हीं को मिलता था। फिर उसके बाद आप देखिए सर, 1931 और 1941 के सेंसस में भी गोरखा एज ए हिल ट्राइब जो है जाने जाते थे, लेकिन आज़ादी के बाद एक जॉब एरिया एक्ट के अंतर्गत 1954 को दार्जिलिंग तराई डूवर्स को जो है वो पश्चिम बंगाल के साथ उसको जोड़ा गया। और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे जैसे अलग अलग 18 सब ट्राइब होते थे, उसमें से जो है 7 अलग अलग सब ट्राइब जिसमें शेरपा, भूटिया, लेपचा, धुपका, योल्मो, तामांग और लिंबू को एसटी का दर्जा प्राप्त हुआ। लेकिन आज भी 11 उपजातियां गुरुंग, भुजेल, मगर, नेवार, जोगी, खस, राई, सुनवार, थामी, याखा, धीमाल अभी भी छूटे हुए हैं। और फिर मैं एक बात आपको कहना चाहूँगा सर, हमारे यहाँ डेमोग्राफी बहुत तेजी से चेंज हो रहा है। इलीगल जो है बांग्लादेशी आते हैं, रोहिंग्या आने के कारण हमारा जंगल, हमारा पहाड़ और हमारी संस्कृति और यहाँ तक कि हमारी वेशभूषाओं के ऊपर में भी इसका असर पड़ा है और इसके कारण जो है अनेक कुरीतियां जो है समाज के अंदर में देखी जा रही है। आरजीआई ने भी 2-3 टिप्पणी की उनके पत्राचार में। मैं आपके माध्यम से आरजीआई और सरकार से भी पूछना चाहता हूं। आरजीआई कई बार ये कहता है कि नेपाल और भारत का इंडो नेपाल फ्रेंडशिप ट्रीटी है जिसके अंतर्गत रेसिप्रोकल है, यहाँ भी आ सकते हैं, वहां भी जा सकते हैं। मेरा आरजीआई से सीधा सवाल है, 2 देशों की ये आपस में संबंध है, फ्रेंडशिप है, लेकिन उसका खामियाजा हमारी जनता क्यों भुगते, ये सरकार को देखना चाहिए। दूसरा, कई बार उनकी ये भी टिप्पणी रहती है कि अगर आपको एसटी का दर्जा दे देंगे गोरखाओं को तो इन्फ्लक्स हो जाएगा। मैं पूछना चाहता हूं सरकार से भी, आरजीआई से भी, जैसे आपने 2001 में लिंबू तामंग को जो है एसटी का दर्जा दिया अटल जी के समय में, 2001 से लेकर के 2024 तक आप जरा आंकड़ा बता दीजिए कि कितना इन्फ्लक्स नेपाल से भारत की ओर हुआ है। हमारी ये मांग संवैधानिक मांग है, बॉर्डर को ठीक करना ये बीएसएफ और सरकार का काम है। मैं चाहता हूं इसमें और देरी न हो। और इतना ही नहीं, सिक्किम स्टेट ने 2021 के अंदर में असेंबली में इसका बिल पारित किया। 2014 में पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार ने भी इसको इंक्लूड करने के लिए जो है एक प्रस्ताव पारित करके भारत सरकार को भेजा है। मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में 3 अलग अलग कमिटियां इसके अंदर इसको एसटी का दर्जा देने के लिए गठित हुई है और उसमें भी जो उनकी टिप्पणियां हैं वो भी इस चीज को सपोर्ट करती है। मैं चाहता हूं इसके अंदर में और अधिक देरी नहीं हो और जो अधिकार गोरखाओं का है, जो हर साल हर दिन देश के लिए मरता है, जिसके कारण हमारा बॉर्डर सेफ है, जिसके कारण नॉर्थ ईस्ट का बहुत बड़ा इलाका सेफ है, मैं चाहता हूं उनके साथ अन्याय नहीं हो, उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन को देखते हुए। और क्योंकि ये जो पूरा दार्जिलिंग तराई डूवर्स का क्षेत्र है, आप देखिए एक तरफ बांग्लादेश है, एक तरफ नेपाल है, एक तरफ भूटान है, 50 किलोमीटर की दूरी पे चाइना है, चारों तरफ हम बॉर्डर में घिरे हुए हैं। और इस क्षेत्र को और वहां की लोकल पॉपुलेशन को मजबूत रखना और उनको बचाए रखना, मुझे लगता है ये देश का भी कर्तव्य है और भारत सरकार का भी ये कर्तव्य है। मैं आपके माध्यम से भारत सरकार से मांग करता हूं कि जो भी देरी हुई है इसमें और देरी ना हो और गुरुंग, भुजेल, मगर, नेवार, जोगी, खस, राई, सुनवार, थामी, याखा, धीमाल, इन अलग अलग जो सब ट्राइब के गोरखाओं को इनको जो है इनका अधिकार मिले। और इसमें सिक्किम सरकार ने भी बढ़ चढ़कर हिस्सा लिया है, उन्होंने तो पूरा असेंबली में इस चीज को पारित करके भेजा है, ये अधिकार उनको मिले। और आपने मुझे बोलने का समय दिया, इसके लिए मैं आपका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूं। धन्यवाद।
मिस जी तनुजा रानी।
At the outset, I would like to thank you, Chairman sir, for giving me the opportunity to put forth our party's view on the readjustment of representation of scheduled tribe in assembly constituencies of the state of Goa Bill 2024. Sir, the Constitution of India has several provisions to prevent the discrimination against the people belonging to the scheduled tribe and protest their right. I strongly support this bill, sir. Sir, ప్రధానమంత్రి గౌరవ శ్రీ నరేంద్ర మోడీ గారు మాటల్లో ఆదివాసులే ప్రపంచానికి మూలవాసులని, సంస్కృతి సాంప్రదాయాలు వారసులని పలుమార్లు ప్రకటించారు. అభినందనీయం. కానీ అవి అన్ని మాటల్లోనే మాత్రమే మిగిలిపోయాయి. చేతల్లో మాత్రం వారు ప్రభుత్వం చేసింది శూన్యం. ఆర్థికంగా సామాజికంగా అభివృద్ధికి ఆమడ దూరంలో ఉన్న నా ఆదివాసీ గిరిజన ప్రాంతం స్వతంత్రం వచ్చి 77 సంవత్సరాలు అయినా ప్రగతి శూన్యం. ప్రపంచమంతా అభివృద్ధిపై పరుగులు తీస్తుంటే గిరిజన ఆదివాసీ ప్రాంతం మాత్రం కనీసం కరెంటు లేకుండా, రహదారులు లేకుండా, తాగునీరు సదుపాయం కూడా లేని గ్రామాలు అనేకం ఉన్నాయి. సెల్ ఫోన్ అంటే ఏంటో తెలియని అమాయక ఆదివాసీ జీవితాలు నేటికి దుర్భరంగా ఉన్నాయి. కనీసం దానికి కారణం ప్రభుత్వాలు ఆదివాసీ గిరిజనుల సంక్షేమాన్ని పట్టించుకోకపోవడం అని నా అభిప్రాయం. గిరిజనులకు రాజ్యాంగం ద్వారా కొన్ని ప్రత్యేక హక్కులు, చట్టాలు కల్పించబడ్డాయి. అందులో ఒకటి 1/70 చట్టం. ఈ చట్టం ప్రకారం షెడ్యూల్ తెగలకు భూభాగంలోని పూర్తి హక్కులు, అధికారాలు స్థానిక గిరిజనులకు మాత్రమే చెందుతుందని అక్కడి ప్రభుత్వం కూడా ప్రైవేటు సంస్థగానే పరిగణించబడినది. కానీ ఈ చట్టం నేడు ఉనికి కోల్పోయింది. స్వయం పాలన కొరకు పేసా చట్టం 1996లో తీసుకుని వచ్చి గిరిజన ప్రాంతంలోని ఏం చేయాలన్నా గ్రామ సభల తీర్మానం ద్వారా మాత్రమే చేయాలని అధికారులు కల్పించిన గొప్ప చట్టాన్ని తీసుకొని వచ్చింది. అది కూడా ఇప్పుడు కనుమరుగైపోయింది. గిరిజనులకు ప్రాణవాయువు లాంటి జీవో నెంబర్ 3 ఇది గిరిజనుల ఉద్యోగ ఉపాధి అవకాశాలను మెరుగుపరిచి గిరిజన ప్రాంతంలో ప్రాథమిక విద్యకు పటిష్ట పునాది వేసిన చట్టం. గిరిజన ఆదివాసీ ప్రాంతం భౌగోళికంగా వైవిధ్యం కలిగిన ప్రాంతం. సముద్ర మట్టానికి 3000 అడుగుల ఎత్తున దట్టమైన అరణ్యంలో నిత్యం కురిసిన వర్షాల్లో జంతువులు తప్ప మనుషులు నివసించడానికి కనీసం అవకాశం లేని అరణ్య ప్రాంతంలో నిత్యం మలేరియా, డెంగ్యూ, చికెన్ గున్యా లాంటి రోగాలు ప్రభవిల్లే ప్రాంతం. అలాంటి ప్రాంతంలో మైదాన ప్రాంతం నుండి ఉపాధ్యాయులను నియమించి అక్కడ నివాసం ఉండలేక నెల రోజుల్లో 2-3 రోజులు మాత్రమే మొక్కుబడికి పాఠాలు చెప్పుకునేవారు. దీనివల్ల విద్య ప్రమాణాలు దారుణంగా పడిపోయి గిరిజన బాలబాలికలు ప్రాథమిక విద్య కూడా నోచుకోని పరిస్థితి కంటతడి తెప్పిస్తుంది. ఈ తరుణంలో చీకటిలో కాంతి వెలుగుల్లాగా జీవో నెంబర్ 3 తీసుకుని వచ్చి గిరిజన ప్రాంతంలో ఉపాధ్యాయుల పోస్టులను స్థానిక గిరిజన అభ్యర్థులకు మాత్రమే భర్తీ చేయాలన్న చట్టం తీసుకుని వచ్చి స్థానికంగా అర్హులైన అభ్యర్థులను తమ ప్రాంతంలోనే ఉన్న పిల్లలకు స్థానిక భాషల్లోనే తమ బోధన సర్దుబాటు చేసుకొని చక్కటి విద్యా ప్రగతిని బాటగా పరిచారు. అలాంటి జీవో నెంబర్ 3 విత్తనాలను మొలకెత్తి విద్యా ఫలాలని అందించే తరుణంలో ఈ జీవో నెంబర్ 3ని సుప్రీంకోర్టు రద్దు చేయడం జరిగింది. అయితే ఉద్యోగ అవకాశాలు లేక మైదాన ప్రాంత అభ్యర్థులతో పోటీ పడలేక మా గిరిజన ప్రాంతంలోని ఉన్న నిరుద్యోగ విద్యార్థులు ఎంతోమంది మత్తు పదార్థాలకు బానిసలుగా మారి ప్రమాదం ఉంది సార్. అయితే దయచేసి పాలక ప్రభుత్వం మా కోసం కొత్తగా ఏమి చేయక్కర్లేదు, కానీ ఉన్న చట్టాల్లో హక్కులు మాత్రం తీసేయకండి. జీవులకు ప్రాణవాయువు ఎంత ముఖ్యమైనదో గిరిజన ఆదివాసీ విద్యా సంస్థలకు యువత ఉద్యోగ ఉపాధికి ప్రాణవాయువు జీవో నెంబర్ 3 సార్ పునరుద్ధరించాలి. లేకపోతే ప్రత్యామ్నాయంగా మరో జీవో తీసుకుని వస్తే గిరిజన ఆదివాసీ ప్రాంతాలకు 100% ఉద్యోగాలు స్థానిక గిరిజనులకి మాత్రమే భర్తీ చేయాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాను సార్. వారు నేర్చుకోవాల్సింది కాకుండా గిరిజన ప్రాంతంలో ఉండే వాతావరణ భౌగోళికంగా స్వరూపానికి ఇదొక కారణం కావచ్చు. ఇది మీకు ఆశ్చర్యం కలిగించవచ్చు, కానీ ఇదే నిజం సార్. ఈ జీవో నెంబర్ 3 మీద కొన్ని లక్షలాది మంది గిరిజన నిరుద్యోగులు ఆధారపడి ఉన్నారు సార్. ఖచ్చితంగా ఇట్లాంటి జీవోని మాత్రం తొలగించకుండా, లేకపోతే తొలగించవలసి అవసరం ఉంటే ఈ జీవో నెంబర్ 3ని ఇంకో జీవో నెంబర్తో మళ్ళీ పునరుద్ధరించాలని చెప్పి మిమ్మల్ని కోరుకుంటూ సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
శ్రీ సుధాకర్ సింగ్.
माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं गोवा राज्य विधानसभा निर्वाचन क्षेत्रों में अनुसूचित जनजातियों के प्रतिनिधित्व के पुनर्संयोजन विधेयक 2024 पर चर्चा में भाग लेने के लिए खड़ा हूँ। माननीय सभापति महोदय, यह विधेयक हम सभी के लिए एक महत्वपूर्ण प्रश्न खड़ा करता है। यदि अन्य राज्यों में भी जनजातीय संख्या में वृद्धि हो रही है, तो क्या हम उन राज्यों के लिए भी ऐसे विधेयकों की उम्मीद कर सकते हैं? सरकार क्या कदम उठा रही है ताकि इस न्यायपूर्ण प्रतिनिधित्व को पूरे देश में समान रूप से लागू किया जा सके? आंकड़े यह स्पष्ट करते हैं कि झारखंड, ओडिशा, छत्तीसगढ़, बिहार जैसे राज्यों में अनुसूचित जनजातियों की संख्या लगातार बढ़ रही है। उदाहरण के लिए 2011 की जनगणना के अनुसार बिहार के जनजातीय क्षेत्रों जैसे जमुई, बांका और किशनगंज, कैमूर, रोहतास में जनजातीय संख्या में उल्लेखनीय वृद्धि हुई। क्या कारण है कि अन्य राज्यों में जनजातीय समुदायों के लिए ऐसे विधेयक पेश नहीं किए जा रहे हैं? क्या यह हम मान लें कि यह निर्णय चुनिंदा तरीके से लिया गया है और यह किसी राष्ट्रीय नीति का हिस्सा नहीं है? प्रतिनिधित्व केवल विधानसभा के सीटों का प्रश्न नहीं है, यह उन समुदायों को सशक्त बनाने का विषय है जिन्हें लंबे समय से उनके अधिकारों से वंचित रखा गया। मैं सरकार से आग्रह करता हूं कि जनजातीय जनसंख्या को पूरे देश में उचित प्रतिनिधित्व देने के लिए एक व्यापक नीति की तैयारी की जाए। मैं बिहार में एक चर्चा करना चाहता हूं कि कैमूर और रोहतास और उत्तर प्रदेश का जो सोनभद्र राबर्ट्सगंज का इलाका है, उस इलाके में कई ऐसी जनजातीय समुदाय निर्वास कर रहे थे, आज भी निवास कर रहे हैं, जो वह रूलर कम्युनिटी थे, शासक वर्ग थे। वह मैदानी इलाकों में एक लंबे राज्य जैसे कि खरवार, चेरो वंश के लोगों ने राज किया, और जब उन लोग मैदानी इलाके में जब राज कर रहे थे, खरवार और चेरो वंश के लोग,
बाद में जब उनका राज समाप्त हुआ, लेकिन उनके समुदाय के लोग मैदानी इलाके में ही बस गए। आज तक बिहार में उनको जनजाति का दर्जा नहीं मिलने से उनकी सामाजिक और सांस्कृतिक पहचान का संकट से जूझ रहे हैं। यहाँ तक कि गोंड बिरादरी, लोहार बिरादरी, मुसहर बिरादरी जैसी आदिम जो जनजातियाँ हैं, उनको आदिम जनजाति का, अनुसूचित जाति का आज तक दर्जा नहीं मिलने से उन समुदायों में भारी रोष भी है। यहाँ तक कि कभी कभी हिंदी और अंग्रेजी के शब्दावली के आधार पर उनको आदिवासी समुदाय का सर्टिफिकेट नहीं मिलता। गोंड और गोंड, लोहार एवं लोहरा, इस तरह के केवल शाब्दिक अर्थों पे थोड़े से अर्थों को भिन्न होने से उन लोगों को आदिवासी का दर्जा नहीं मिलने से बिहार में ऐसे समुदाय में भारी रोष है। सामाजिक आर्थिक जनगणना के अभाव में अभी जब देश में सामाजिक आर्थिक जनगणना एक देर से शुरू हुआ और इसके अभाव के चलते हम लोग ये तय नहीं कर पा रहे हैं कि किस समुदाय का कितनी आबादी है और आबादी के अनुपात में जो मिलने का जो आरक्षण की जो सीमा है वो किस स्तर तक बढ़ना चाहिए, यह हमारे पास एक वैज्ञानिक साक्ष्य नहीं है। इसीलिए सरकारों से, भारत की सरकार से हम लोग उम्मीद करते हैं कि जल्दी ही जातीय सामाजिक जनगणना को कार्य पूरा करेंगे, जिससे आने वाले समय में आरक्षण के प्रावधानों को वैज्ञानिक तरीके से आगे बढ़ाने का काम करेंगे। जब देश में एक देश एक चुनाव का संविधान संशोधन जब प्रस्तावित है, एक मिनट मैं अपनी बात को समाप्त कर रहा हूँ। वन्य अधिकार अधिनियम 2006 पास होने के बावजूद भी इस इलाके के आदिवासी समुदायों में अभी तक वन उपज को लेकर के एक स्पष्ट प्रावधान नहीं होने से बिहार के कई जो ऐसे जो इलाका हैं जो जनजाति रहते हैं, जनजाति समुदाय के, उन लोगों के इलाके में सड़क का व्यवस्था, बिजली की व्यवस्था, पानी की व्यवस्था, पीने वाली पानी की व्यवस्था हम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं। वहीं जब उद्योग लगाने की बात होती है, खनन की बात होती है, तो उन इलाकों में भारत सरकार लगातार परमिशन देने का काम करती है। यह एक दो तरफा सरकार की जो नीति है, इसको बदलने की आवश्यकता है। चूँकि समय मेरा बहुत कम था, इसीलिए मैं इतनी बातों के साथ अपनी बात को समाप्त करता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Thank you. The House stands adjourned to meet on Wednesday, 18th December 2024 at 11 a.m.